and goes whenever she wants, McSweeney. Because once an Alex full stop and doesn't go until she counts to 5, McSweeney. Always an Alex full stop. Well, you know the rest. Sign up for Snapshot today.
Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Snapshot not available in all states or from all agents.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Tide Power Pods have 85% more Tide.
Who needs that much more Tide?
Well, when giving your muddy dog a bath turns into you getting a mud shower, yikes, you're gonna need more Tide. When your wine tasting becomes a wine spilling, yeah, you're gonna need more Tide. Or if your favorite shirt is your kid's favorite napkin. Great, I'm gonna need more Tide. My mom gave me that shirt.
It's a mess out there. Tide Power Pods have 85% more Tide versus Tide Pods.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
A crossover is...
Crossover dribble.
Sing for the crossover.
Kyrie Irving, crossover in the lane. One of the most famous crossovers of all time.
Behind the back, an ankle breaker on Chris Paul.
Crossover.
Double crossover. The crossover continues to evolve. All right, time for the crossover on the Monday after the spring game, and a full breakdown coming up on the Connor Happer Show with Josh on Herbie's face.
Yeah, little scary,
pockmarked,
little scary, but I think we're leaning into it a little bit.
That it's scary or spooky?
Well, sports in general seems to be leaning into. All right, we're gonna have I guess I would call it like a viral mascot, like a social media mascot almost.
All right.
You just say, hey, this guy is kind of our mascot, but he's also really weird and will do weird stuff. And let's throw him. I think, Gritty really is a trailblazer in this category.
Lock the doors.
Yeah.
Just run and lock the doors.
Scared. I almost, down on the sideline, stole his cob. Right out of his back pocket. He would have had no idea.
Do you think it was sewn into his pocket?
No. Because he could change pockets. He just has a cob.
Oh. So, like, if kids say, can I see your cob? He pulls it out and he shows it to him and then puts it back?
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly like that.
That's exactly what would happen. Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I told you. I showed you the picture. There's the guy that dresses as Herbie Husker. That basically was him.
Yeah, that is that guy. Yeah. But Herbie didn't have... I thought his overalls would be more blue.
Yeah.
He's got like black
Do
overalls.
you think that was when we see him again, like in the fall, it'll look a little bit different?
No.
Like they put it out there as a test.
No, I don't think you could
feedback.
I don't think you could change him. We know the caricature version, the animated version of him.
He put a lot of legwork into that design and creating it. I think
we could change him however much we want. I don't think there's any change in the actual physical Herbie.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, Nebraska had a trtribute to Frank Solich, and they had a tribute to Scott Frost because some people were saying it looks like Scott Frost.
It does not look like Scott Frost.
Had a little dip in on the side, a little bump on the side of his mouth.
Yep, that was noticeable.
That would have been a good little wink.
The Harley should have had a dent in the side.
Should have. By the way, too soon? Who's driving the?
Okay, so I was going to ask you. So that's Ted Carter's motorcycle that he was given,
and then he gave it to John Cook, or because
John Cook,
John Cook. So
John Cook
that gift
was acting like he was taking it.
It's
So,
that was the motorcycle.
That was a bit.
That was a bit.
Okay. I was
so
like, damn.
Was Ted Carter driving?
No, because Ted Carter gave him some daps when they were when he dizzled dance coming out
So
of the
the
locker
big
room.
mystery is who was riding the Harley.
Who was riding the Harley?
Yeah.
That guy from Oregon who does it for the duck.
They borrowed him. They bought him for the weekend.
Yeah.
You can't just have anybody come out there.
So
on a
you have the
motorcycle
duck
drive
and
around.
then the deacon.
We got
the demon deacon comes out on a motorcycle.
We got to inquire about this.
Okay.
I'll ask.
What if it was doesn't the Vikings, don't they have the whatever used to come out in a motorcycle?
The Viking?
big Viking guy?
The Viking?
Yeah, and then he got canceled. Or he canceled himself.
Oh.
He wanted a ton of money, so they were like, "Nah, that's good."
Really?
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Do you think they'll continue the motorcycle tradition? Do you think
They
they'll come out
should.
on a motorcycle every time?
They should. I think that's something different. I mean, they're going to change where the tunnel walk's coming out for the first game this fall.
Yeah.
Let's just mix it up. I don't think Roll doesn't strike me as a guy that the fireworks are going to go off and all the lasers and stuff.
I just thought it was a really good opportunity to run over Lil Red with. I mean, they came close.
Oh, I know you were.
They'd go.
You were sitting right next to me and you go, "This would be cool." They did come close.
Yeah.
But then, much to the dismay of yours truly, Little Red then disappeared. Jimmy said he was outside of the stadium. That's what we've done to Little Red. Is we now kicked him outside the stadium.
Oh my God.
I saw him. I just saw him images of.
I think we're phasing
him at
out.
like pregame festivities and stuff, where I did not see him inside Memorial Stadium as far as images, but more outside.
That's okay. It's like
we're phasing him out.
Nebraska Athletics
he
is
is
just
in phase
following
out.
like a WWE script. In 20 years, like the fourth version of Herbie will welcome back Little Red. And Little Red will waddle out to midfield, and then they will name the changing room at the stadium after him.
That was the whole joke on Saturday. Like, we're going to bring all the other coaches back at some point, and because it will age so well or so poorly, I guess, that we'll need to bring them. Like, when will Mike Riley come back, and what will we name for Mike Riley? Because we'll say, well,
vending machine.
Yeah. Do we have a soft serve ice cream machine?
Somebody will say in like 15 years, that Mike Riley guy. I don't know. I think he got a raw deal. Sean Eichhorst, not so good. I mean, he's the guy who brought him here. Bill Moose, not so good either. It's the guy who fired him.
You know what? Those people aren't in my life. I don't think I would share that sentiment.
But if Nebraska continues to stink, then we just got to keep on looking to the past. We got to keep on bringing back old people.
All right,
to get perspective.
And we try and eliminate as many curses as we can.
All right, then baseball, you bring Dave Van Horn back.
Yes.
But not to honor him or retire number 2, which should be the next jersey retired in baseball.
Mm-hmm.
Is he actually is the head coach again? And then bring back Danny Nee, and he's the head coach.
Exactly.
Okay. So we don't bring them back to honor them. We actually hire them.
Yes.
Okay.
Dave Van Horn will hire him at, 78. And, whatever that might take place. It's kind of soon, right? Maybe later.
Can't wait for the second run of Doc Sadler.
Yeah. Third.
Third, really. Yeah.
And you won't even need to hire him. He'll just show up.
Yeah, he'll just be here.
My van broke down out front.
He'd be really good for the bottom line. I think he would probably be the head coach here for like $55,000.
And you wouldn't have to. There wouldn't be like an allowance, a housing allowance, because he'd get like a conversion RV.
Yeah,
he'd sleep in the parking lot.
Well, you park it in the back, and they could just open up the garage door for him when he wants to drive in.
Basically, he could live in the Hendricks complex.
Yes.
They've got showers.
Yes.
They got a couch.
Anybody could, actually.
You got TVs.
Yeah.
They actually could. Yeah. Someday there's.
I would like to live there.
Someday there's going to be a story of a vagrant that has snuck into one of the facilities and has lived in Memorial Stadium for like
there'll be
6 months.
There'll be this whole spread. It's like, that guy, he came in one day and nobody ever kicked him out. He's like Milton from Office Space. Like nobody ever kicked him out. He was just there.
There's a little glitch
And
in
now
payroll.
he's our guy. Like he mops the floors. I mean, he does anything that's needed from an equipment standpoint.
He shows up at all these.
He's very helpful.
He shows up at the 6th floor press conferences, just sitting in the back.
Yeah. Just assume he's a member of the media.
He's at the 3rd floor, like the really nice. Whenever it's a big press conference, he's just there.
And then a coach will be like, "Shout out to Frank. Frank's been here for a long time. I don't know what Frank does, but I do love Frank. I got to thank Frank."
So this is I told Nick this about something that came up over the weekend because we all like millionaires and billionaires that fight over a simple $8 blue check mark.
Very cool.
Sure. Totally normal.
Which person on 1620 would be the most likely to pay $8?
Josh Peterson.
I think that's what Nick said.
No. I said
2 votes for Josh.
I said between Gary and you, Connor, and John Bishop. No. That I've actually known before I rejoined the airwaves at 1620 back in December. So I didn't know, out of all the on-air personalities, I didn't know Josh very well. I know of Josh. I just didn't, really have any kind of existing relationship with him before. And then our fine producers between Josh, Nick, and Jimmy. So Josh Peterson's the first name I brought up, and now everyone's assuming that I would say it'd be Josh Peterson.
You hate Josh.
But what I would say is, what I know of you guys and John Bishop, it wouldn't be you guys.
I
don't think any one of you, and I don't think Josh Hodson.
Now let's get
would
it all.
do it either, and I don't think Jimmy Chavez would do it either.
Let's go it all the time here.
Is Jimmy on Twitter?
Jimmy is not. If he is, he's not active. So again, I don't think he would.
Good for the show.
I think he's gonna fire off some takes.
Yeah. Scorching hot takes.
Did you, back in the old days, did you ever apply for verification?
No.
I did.
I do agree.
All right, so I've eliminated myself from this conversation.
Yep, I did.
That is a good question.
I don't believe you.
End.
I think
no, I never did.
I didn't. It was confusing. I don't even know what medium I was supposed to put myself under.
I
it was very
thought,
confusing.
okay, so the only time I thought about it is I thought you had to have somebody that already had a blue check mark recommended you.
Oh,
I don't think
that was
right.
too. Okay,
well, that was way back in the day.
So what was it? You had to contact Twitter and ask.
You just had to, you had to fill out a form, and you had to, prove, if you're a media person, you had to prove that you're published or some sort of.
And the ones said you needed to attach a story that would confirm you or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
And that's where I'm like, I don't even know if I'm doing this.
So I did that, and I didn't hear back.
Yeah, I don't even know if
I just thought it would be cool. Maybe I was told
I did not qualify.
Yeah, I never heard back
because I don't even know.
So
what
Twitter
the hell
didn't
I
like radio talk show hosts.
Nope.
I guess
we're not named Rush Limbaugh.
I guess not.
Yeah,
because then you have to, verify all the podcasts too.
And then you probably got to remind people that you're a blue check mark person.
Mm-hmm.
So I never got that, and now I won't be paying $8 a month.
Yeah, that's almost as much as my ESPN Plus subscription.
Well, it turns out it's actually what our good friend Elon has actually done now. He has made it cool to not have a blue check mark.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know if that was his grand plan in this entire thing, but he's definitely done that. Congratulations to him.
Well, and then but here's what I noticed over the weekend. Because of the verification and everything else that's going on with Twitter, there are more porn bots out there.
Oh, way more porn bots.
I tweeted something about the football game, AJ Allen is back.
They would check out my OnlyFans.
And no, this was a response from a porn bot. Would you hit this? And I said,
respond?
I said,
would you?
I'm watching a football game later.
Later. Hit me up later.
Ma'am.
But they never respond back to you.
No, they don't.
I want to engage them in a conversation. And then I'd come off the top rope.
Every once in a while, 1 out of 20, when the porn bots go in the DMs, I'll be like, they'll just say, because they'll just say, hey, that's one of them, or they'll say hey, I'm new here or something like that. And I will,
how does this thing work?
Yeah, and I will just say, hey, I'll just say hey back, just see what's going on.
No response.
See, that's a letdown because these people that send you your work email, hey, I'm stuck in an airport in Shanghai.
Right.
Can you send me some money? And I'll write back. Yeah, let me know the details.
Yeah.
They never respond back to you.
Yeah.
I mean, I want to engage them in conversation. I mean, who doesn't, outside of Nebraska Ball Mike, really want to get deep in with a porn star on Twitter?
I was seeing all these screenshots from over the weekend. So they have this thing on Snapchat now where they have an AI bot that you can talk to.
Oh, yeah, I saw this.
So people were asking it, hey, do you know my location? Can you tell me where I am right now? And they're like, no, you don't have location services on. We can't, we don't have that information. And then they would go back and forth. Are you sure you don't have my location right now? They're like, yes, no, trust me. We don't have your location. And then they would say, where is the nearest McDonald's? And then the AI bot would say, well, it's right here. It's oh, interesting. AI bot. I thought you didn't have my location. Very intriguing. So yeah, there's some, that'll be fun. The AI thing right now.
Doug
we're in trouble.
Doug voted for you, by the way.
Yeah, I saw that, old man Doug. I get
Doug.
that. All right. I think you're likely to
Doug.
get a blue check.
Me or Doug?
Old man Doug.
I think Doug would pay for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was weird. I see Buster Olney stuff and Kirch and stuff over the weekend without a blue check mark. It's just really odd and cool. So you're right. I think there's like a cool factor.
We're missing the person I think is the most obvious on this radio station because he would do it because he'd be the most unexpected. Nick.
Young Nick.
Young Nick would be a blue check mark guy, and John and Josh would know how to handle that.
See, and I don't know Nick well enough, so I couldn't say Nick.
Nick in person is Nick on Twitter.
Okay.
So it would be quite fascinating.
That would be funny.
With a blue check mark, Nick Grimm.
I just did it for the bit, and it worked.
That would be good.
And all these people started responding to me. They said, "Hey, welcome to the club."
What if we chipped in for Nick to get it?
What does it actually do? Like, does it give you some sort of priority or something? Like, what does it actually do?
You get insider information?
You can sort your replies and mentions by verified accounts, unverified accounts, which
you can
doesn't
do
say
that,
much anymore.
You can do that only if you have a blue check mark and you pay $8 a month.
I believe so.
I don't think you don't get that many replies usually to want to sort them.
Well,
also you wouldn't want to because
if you were famous, you would.
I guess so. Yeah. But if you were just a random guy,
well, now we need to convince Nick to go to management and say, "Hey, can I expense this?"
Yeah,
we need Twitter Blue.
Expense it. Can
$96 a month
or
$96 a year?
Well, yeah. Did you see
to support his monthly fee?
So some of the team accounts and stuff, they have the gold
one. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is, I believe, $1,000. $1,000 a month. Is that right?
Do any of them? So like right now, I'm looking at the NFL Twitter account. No gold, no blue. It's just
really?
It's just standalone right now.
But team accounts so Nebraska. So I don't know.
NFL has gold.
Oh wait, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the NFL draft account.
NFL has gold.
Look at the Huskers account.
Okay. Husker, just at Huskers.
The official account
is the
for
football
Huskers,
account.
Yeah, and the
you're right, it is gold.
The Huskers athletics account is
blue,
an offshoot, quote unquote, or whatever verbiage they use.
So Rule has a blue check mark, and the Carolina Panther fans think that he's paying $8 a month without knowing that the football account is the main Twitter account for Nebraska athletics, and because he is, I don't know, he's verified or something, he keeps his blue check mark.
Yeah, there were some people that were just allowed to keep it just by the fact that they were big enough.
Oh,
I don't know what the minimum amount of followers. Yeah, but Rule does have a blue check,
and a bunch of dead celebrities got theirs back over the weekend.
Oh, well, that's good.
That's convenient.
That was very nice of Elon. And
tweeting from the grave,
I guess.
So we need to take this a step further. That Nick gets a blue check mark.
I'm
the
good,
reaction to
I'm good for $2 a month.
I don't even think.
Yeah.
I think young Nick is the kind of person that even if we did it for him, even if we paid for it, he would still not do it.
No.
Yes.
What would he do with my $2? Assuming we're all going in on this.
So
I don't want to put the $8 bill myself, guys.
In this scenario, he's just allowed to keep the money that we would have paid for him. Nah, it was.
So it'd be
get you a meal a
he'd
month.
be a city councilman in Omaha.
He would still get to keep his job.
I think actually it would not be Nick. It would not be Nick.
So what this essentially comes down to,
it would be nobody. The question is who
needs
this?
Most? Who needs this for like their brand?
You can Texture Bernie says you can edit tweets and longer tweets.
Oh,
if you're a check marker.
You have more characters,
but this falls under the category
for me
of things that you'll never pay for in your life.
Correct.
Like there was one time I thought I would never pay for water or air in your tires. That's ended recently. Because I had to go somewhere and they charged me $0.25 to put air in my tires.
Oh, I've seen those.
Oh,
yeah,
shouldn't air be free?
Middle of nowhere, Kansas, $2.
$2 for air.
Whoa.
Yep, don't like that.
To put air in your car or in your tires, it's $2?
Yeah.
Now, what do you think about
that's whack.
Paying to use the vacuums at the car washes? Where do we come down on
that?
that?
See, I'm okay with that. Unless you're a subscriber.
I'm a subscriber.
You get your own little bay.
Yep.
See, I'm not doing that. See,
so that's on your list is things I'll never pay for in my life.
I've got all kinds of spray at my disposal. I can polish the interior. I can even put in an air freshener spray every time I go.
And
to
you
car
only
wash.
get this if you are a subscriber?
Yeah.
Wow.
Membership has privileges, Connor. But what you need to do,
are you
need to
confident
take the
that
free
you will
one,
never ever be a subscriber to a car wash?
Not as confident as me. Like I'll never lose my wallet. You know that, but I don't think that I will. I don't like subscribing to things.
Yeah,
really at all. I don't I only have a few subscriptions. What, Josh? Stop laughing.
Just the phrase.
I don't like subscribing. I don't like subscribing to things. I don't like
there's a commitment, or
yeah, it's a commitment.
And
I
it
don't
just
like being
keeps
tied
coming
down.
month after month. And you don't know how to stop licorice.com.
Exactly. It's why I don't do free trials. Free trials, because then you got to put in your credit card. It stops when you have to put in your
there's an
credit card.
app that will remind you when your free trials are nearing their expiration, so you know to cancel.
Yeah, but then it's just another thing that I have to
it's
do.
another app, but I'm just saying there is an app for it. If you feel like that's keeping you from maybe subscribing to certain things and not others.
Yeah, I don't want to subscribe to. I want to subscribe to less things. Actually, I want to just be, pick off some things a la carte.
Well, apparently
car wash here.
I hope you're not sharing
TV show
passwords
here
or login information, because Netflix is serious now.
I thought they were serious. And then they weren't.
It was kind of more of a loosely enforced seriousness. Now it's a ironclad seriousness, apparently, which I still.
Who sticks to their threats more, Netflix or Elon Musk?
Yeah, right? Because I still am part of a shared Netflix group, and I have not heard anybody say, "Hey, we got closed out," because we're the main providers for this one.
So it's on you.
Well,
so if you get the hammer, it's
we
head.
haven't been told anything, and no one has said anything to us. That's in our little shared user information group.
What's a big deal? I mean, you went out on a limb there because
we did. I stuck my neck out for these people.
Yeah, like I said,
don't abuse the privilege.
It's going to be under your name when they
It
send
is.
all the Netflix password sharers to jail.
When they block me out, and I'll be suspended for a year from Netflix, maybe longer. I don't know what their terms are. Maybe it's a lifetime ban. Could be. I don't know.
I got to take a look at my subscriptions. I got to see what I got. I got to cut down.
You can
right now, like for this period, I have D1 baseball.
Yeah.
But I'll cancel that in June, and then they'll send me.
Sorry, Kendall.
Yeah, and then Kendall will send me an email and say, "Hey, we got good stuff in the off season." I'm like, I don't really care about the SEC, in the off season. So there's that. Ken Palm goes for a year.
Yeah.
And so you can't. You just have to re-up every year.
Oh, okay.
A popular in our world subscription is The Athletic.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if you signed up, you got the first year free.
Yeah.
I did a Black Friday one where I think I pay $1.99.
I did it I don't know, 2 or 3 months ago, $1 a month.
But you want to know a subscription in the sports world that is going to be kind of interesting? Isn't the whole On3 sign up for $1 for a whole year about to expire?
I think so.
Oh,
somebody's about to hear about that, and his name is Sean Callahan.
They're going to people are not going to be alerted that it's now going to go up, and they're going to all of a sudden overnight go, "What the?" But you can go. There's a lot of websites out there that will help you go through your subscriptions depending on your email.
I've seen these. I need to. You're right.
You might be.
I need to organize.
Subscribing to Adobe right now, and you don't know that.
I actually am subscribed to Adobe.
I subscribe to Adobe as well.
Yeah.
Oh,
I like that because I cut all the audio with Audition on my computer.
But that is
feels like maybe our
through
employer
a previous
could pay for
employer that I don't know if they realize I still am.
Share an account.
They never told me I couldn't, but it's through a previous employer that.
Yeah, if anybody wants,
I have not been
the
told
strip
to
club
stop.
is giving out Adobe.
Yeah. Well, how do you think I come up with all those bangers?
Sure,
you know, I got.
Yeah, if anyone wants to go in on my Adobe with me, I got it all.
Got to create.
I got it all. Everyone, even because so it gives you everything if you get the Creative Cloud.
Mm-hmm.
So you could, I kind of want to start doing Photoshop.
If you share it with me, I will share my AOL CD with you, so you can download AOL.
Ooh,
I don't need AOL.
45 minutes of internet, Connor.
Does that still have the "You've got mail"?
Yes,
still
it
do
does.
that? Oh,
I still have an AOL account.
Good. Don't ever
like that
get
was
rid of
your original email. And you
so
still
all
use
of
it.
Like if you were in the mall and you were trying to have me sign up for something, you would get like Sharpie23 at AOL.com.
I was gonna say like big butt lover at AOL.com.
No, because it was my original email. I couldn't, when you're like applying for jobs.
Yeah.
Yeah, like the big butt lover doesn't go well when it pops into the CEO's inbox.
It's one of my favorite. It's one of the best decisions I've made in my life.
It's not to be a big butt lover.
When I signed up
big butts?
the first time I had to get an email, and I was in middle school or high school or something like that, and then I didn't do like I love the Royals 48. Like I just did Connor Happer at yahoo.com, and it's been my email ever since.
As somebody who takes email addresses for prize winners, there are literally only two kinds of email addresses from 1620 The Zone listeners. It is first name, last name at whatever.com and
Husker
Boy 29 yep.
Just imagine writing that down on like a job application.
I love big butts.
There's a drum.
I'm guessing there's not a lot of
at Hotmail.
I'm guessing there's not a lot of AOL email addresses that are coming in.
No,
I don't think so.
Do you go-
I get made fun of for being a Yahoo guy.
They redid their mailbox. It's actually really, really
I know that.
user friendly.
What, AOL?
Yeah,
Oh.
AOL.
Do you still get any Hotmails?
That's probably the one where I hear it and I go, oh,
Yeah.
Hotmail.
Yeah, that's still
How old
fun.
are you?
My dad's got a Hotmail. He
Yeah?
still
The
uses the
Hotmail?
Hotmail, I think.
Yeah, I think there's probably like an older group that still does it. And then people who just don't really use email that much. Maybe they don't need to.
You
'cause they
have
use
to,
it.
but you have to have an email to do everything.
But they,
still, it's all rooted
you
in
just have
email.
it to you basically have it to sign up for stuff. But
It's
you just don't go in.
amazing.
Yeah.
It's all still rooted in email. You got to get, if you want to get any account for anything, you have to sign up via your
Well,
email.
they need somewhere to send all of their damn junk emails.
Oh man, so much junk. So
Lots
much
of junk.
junk.
Yeah.
And that is the downside to having the original email that you have.
There was a time I was so lazy I would not unsubscribe to really anything. I'm just like, oh, delete it. But now I actually take the time to
I can't.
unsubscribe.
I do it every once in a while, but it's too overwhelming, and so I just wake up and I delete 40 emails.
Every once in a while, Gmail will say, hey, you have not clicked on any of the links from this account in a long time. Would you like to unsubscribe? I always click yes.
And you're like, thank you. That's good looking
Then
at
it
right
always
there.
sends the wrong stuff to my, like the email inbox system is dumb. Like it'll send the wrong stuff to the junk, and yet I'll get emails from like XZY1846 like at like a whole bunch of characters.net. And I'm like, this is not an email that I need. And it'll send something from like work that I signed up with at my Yahoo.
I had a payment notification that I was getting money from the
junk.
university that was real. It went to junk. And what?
It's dumb. They're idiots.
Yeah. I will agree that sometimes they miss things that would be considered important.
And the other stuff to junk.
I have to answer a question from Ted here in the Equitable Bank inbox.
Hi, Ted.
Morning, Ted.
Danny Nee and Frank Solich's wife, not the same person. One is Janet, the other is Pam.
Okay. That's good clarification by you.
Thank you.
Although I don't think you would have been able to really tell who Frank's wife was on Saturday because she had a coat on.
She
and
looked cold.
She looked like
it was a
she
Nike
looked like
coat.
Kenny from South Park.
Did y'all notice
Yeah,
it was a Nike
she
coat?
so Pam is a little bit just like her husband. They kind of keep to themselves. I don't think she wanted to mess up her hair.
Yeah.
And she was cold.
Yeah.
But when
I wouldn't either.
when they were back upstairs, she was fine.
Okay, good.
Yeah. Okay.
They could not hook her up with an Adidas coat. You had Nike out there.
Yeah,
Just saying,
Trev.
that was weird.
I don't know.
I felt weird about that.
All the money went to the Gatling gun. Nothing left in the budget. I'm sorry.
Which only shot off in like spurts. So there
Yeah.
was like a group of people in the south end zone who got 40 shirts probably, and then when like it didn't constantly shoot off shirts.
Wasn't that Gatling gun whole concept? Wasn't that the original thought of the taco cannon too? Weren't they going to do sort of a Gatling gun type thing? And then
tacos?
But then they realized that would be really problematic. Firing tacos like at that.
Well, if you
speed.
wrap them tight enough.
And they didn't. If anybody remembers
Then
the
in
taco
flight,
cannon.
they open up.
Yep, they did.
And the next thing you know, you're hit by ground beef.
Yeah, it did.
One guy's
would
hit by
open up.
cheese.
Oh, it was
Amazing.
hilarious.
A flour taco. Boom.
Look at that. I got some lettuce.
Those things were flying open like left and right. People were getting hit by debris.
I mean, I thought it was going to be a hot dog, but then it became the T-shirt. Thank God, because I mean, we just you're
a lot of
moving
hot dogs.
Well, you're also there's you'd be moving the hot dog for Schlinger out.
Derviner
Another
Schlinger.
phase out. Another phase out of a
Put some
tradition.
respect on his name.
Der Wiener
Okay.
Schlinger.
So Swede is the guy that shoots the gun.
Correct. Yes. Come on. You got to watch it today, not knowing what combines are. And
I made a mistake. I should not have said combine. I
It's
know
not
the
a
difference
combine.
between a regular tractor and a
everybody
combine.
thinks a tractor, all tractors are combines. And I'm here to tell you they're not. Combine is combine is different.
To your credit, you did revalidate and what?
So I was I didn't know if
4640 or
Amy
so-
wanted to talk if it was a 4640 or a
Yeah.
4080.
So you started throwing
Well,
out
they-
numbers.
Yeah. I mean, because that's a big difference in
Sorry,
terms of the
name
size of the
dropping.
tractor.
I'm just saying the initial reaction was He came out on a combine, which
I'm an Iowa City boy, okay?
City.
Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't get
Emphasis
my,
on the city.
fingers dirty that much living in Urbandale. You know, the only planting we did was in the garden in the backyard or the community garden.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I mean, I failed. I admit it.
One more thing before you guys go.
No.
Hoodies.
Yes.
Jeff Sims hoodie. Corn Husker. It's black.
Oh yeah.
It had but people did not like it in the replies because it had like an Acres logo. So it must have been like brought to you by Acres.
Mm-hmm.
But it looked like it was team because it was Adidas. Like it wasn't made by Acres. But that is the best Nebraska football hoodie I have seen in a long, long time. Nebraska has had terrible hoodies. I blame Adidas. It's not anybody over there.
Adidas.
But if you very bad hoodies, and they continue to have bad hoodies, but I don't know where that Jeff Sims hoodie came from, but they need to sell them immediately.
I haven't seen that any other player wearing it.
None.
Is that his deal?
I don't know. He could have an Acres deal.
Does he have a website? Have we looked? Jeff Sims 14?
Jeff Sims NIL.
Now you're specifically saying football hoodies have not been great.
Did you?
Right.
Oh, well, no, I'm saying a lot. Almost all the hoodies.
Baseball 2 years ago had the very, very, very best one, and they had a black and red one. And that was the Huskers, the old Husker strip.
Did you see this one, Nick? This is Jeff Sims hoodie.
These are just from T-shirt shops, though. These are not from any.
Yeah, I like that.
So this has his name
related.
on it. It says the Jeff Sims Corn Space Husker.
Oh, so this is
it's his own thing.
Acres Equipment.
I would like to buy one, Jeff.
You did well with that.
Thank you. Where can I find this?
You can go to the website T-Ducky. tducky.com.
T-Ducky?
T-Ducky?
Yep.
Is that legit?
I've got one on xfrogclothing.com. You get it any color you want.
T-Ducky?
Okay, so apparently he did a line of clothing when he was at Georgia Tech as well.
Okay.
The official Jeff Sims Georgia Tech yellow jacket, sweatshirt, hoodie, sweater, tank top, and long sleeve tee.
Hi-yo.
Yeah, you gotta send me that. Send me that link. Also, I'm just did a quick Google search. Jeff Sims had a Mercedes deal when he was at Georgia Tech.
Hello.
Yeah.
So QB1 is supposed to operate.
Right. Interesting.
And he, of course, played with Jamar Gibbs, who is now at Alabama. I didn't even know he had it until I saw the post. I was like, you weren't going to tell nobody? He kept it from us, but good for him. I'm happy for him. That's big. And he's got a picture right there with the Mercedes-Benz.
See, this was the best sweatshirt in the last 2 years.
That's a good sweatshirt. That's a good hoodie.
Yeah.
Did you get one of those?
I did. I got the red one.
Yeah,
the black ones are even cooler, though.
The script Huskers.
The baseball.
Okay,
yeah. Just, I mean, it doesn't.
I got greedy.
Doesn't have to be too complicated.
I got greedy and I wanted the black one too. I got the red one. I wanted both.
So you're saying this says Sims' name on the back somewhere?
No, I don't think it has Sims anywhere on it.
All right, good.
It's just his.
Wow.
But it looks like his Georgia Tech line had his picture.
Cool. I'm buying this immediately.
What's it run?
Not bad, $40.
Okay.
Where's the hoodie, though?
Do I see a gray? Is there a gray one you can get to?
Yeah, there's gray and black.
Yeah, he's got shirts. He's got long sleeves. He's got tanks.
Yeah.
I'm going to T-Ducky.
There you go. Ordering it right now?
Why not?
You need to subscribe, put your email in there?
Well, my computer knows they don't have any XLs. They never have any XLs. Just have more XLs.
Are there comments that say how they run? Maybe they run big.
Everybody is an XL. Just get more XLs.
Maybe they run big.
We've talked about this before.
Connor,
in fact, Adidas stuff runs big.
Go to one of these 37 other websites that are selling the exact same shirt.
All right.
It is
I'm
Adidas.
just on T-Ducky.
It's Adidas, right?
Yeah. Well, his had the Adidas logo on the arm. It does. I don't know if this one does.
Because if it's Adidas, I think you might be able to get away with a large because they run big.
Oh.
Adidas stuff runs big.
I don't know. I can't get away with a large. Too burly.
I'm just saying. If you find that there are no XLs available anywhere, maybe
XL
get
is the
yourself a large.
weird size to be part of.
Everybody's XL.
XL and medium.
What do you mean weird? It's not
There is
weird.
no medium anymore.
Yeah,
I know,
nobody's medium.
because you are not big enough to be large and you're not small enough to be small, but people just skip over the medium.
But we had this conversation like everything should just bump up. If everybody's XL, that's not like just call it large, because you're a larger person.
Well,
But
it also
it's
depends
still
on where
the
you buy.
scale.
Like certain places, like let's say you go to Kohl's. Kohl's has a tendency to make sizes a size down. Like if it says extra large, it's probably a large. Like you go to Target, for example. Target is a little bit more. If it's an extra large, it is an extra large.
Mm-hmm. Target, very good.
I never really think about that stuff. I always just put. I don't really try stuff on at stores. Maybe
I don't either, and
should.
I get hollered at for
Tony
it. Because
tweets,
then you get home and
I think they do
doesn't
have
fit.
the XL now that I'm looking at.
Tony tweets that you should go ahead and trust T-Duck because they have a blue check mark on their Twitter.
I do want it to have the
So good.
Adidas logo on the
Legitimizes
arm,
it.
though. I hope it's there.
Oh,
Are you a brand snob?
Well, I just like to have a little bit of a brand there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm trying. So, does Jeff Sims have this on his a link on his Twitter account?
I'd hope he
Maybe on the Insta.
has something to T Ducky. It doesn't say anything about Adidas on here, though. But anyway,
Not that hard to find.
it's the kind of ain't hard to find. That's the season we're in right now. We got to gear up for the fall. Wait for the new line of merch to come out.
Um,
Will any of the coaches wear it? Or will this be strictly Jeff Sims?
I don't know.
Did you see Matt Rule rocking a corn Husker?
Hey, Matt Rule will wear anything. You throw Matt.
He will.
You throw Matt Rule a T-shirt, he'll be like, "Yeah, sure, why not? I'll wear it." He'll represent. He'll represent you,
And then I'll just piss off Carolina Panthers.
including his weird hoodie that said "Ooh."
You don't like One of Us?
I do like One of Us. I like the
One of
thing,
Us.
but the letters are so far apart. It's a weird. It's another weird, and they're all different colors. It's
So,
very
do you
weird.
think?
Looks like it was.
You know how like Frost was somebody that would wear gear that was unique, and then people would try and find his hats.
Correct.
Do you think somebody is looking for the flat bill that Matt Rule was wearing the other day?
That was a nice looking ball cap.
I liked it.
It was a nice looking ball
He
cap.
doesn't.
Gary,
he looked odd.
I thought he looked weird in it, but the hat was nice.
He's not a baseball hat guy, but the hat itself was that's a good baseball lid.
He could have just worn the baseball hat.
The end looked a little different than what the baseball team
because
usually.
he broke the branding rule. Like if you go into the brand guide, they say they don't emboss, don't bevel the N, but it's got that extra sort of outline on it.
Yeah.
Like that's not a Nebraska. I don't know where he got that hat. Like that. I don't
It looked like a quality lid.
It did not.
Not on him.
You think with the Gateway Mall?
Not on him.
Yeah. I don't know.
He was at Lids and Gateway Mall and bought a hat.
Got it at the team outlet.
I'm out on that hat.
I'm
out on that hat.
He looked different.
A bad hat.
I don't
just wear a coach hat.
Other than like a very and I would say very bendy build, like trucker-ish hat, I don't think Matt Rule's going to look great in other hats. I just don't, he's not a hat guy.
This is one of the things that he mentioned. So they don't. I mean, the smock is gone.
Yeah, which is unfortunate.
So, but he did say we got to come up with something. So I think he's going to come up with something that's going to be his. Here, maybe it's the weird bad hat.
Will he go flat bill?
Yeah,
maybe he's going to be flat bill head coach.
Maybe some days he'll wear it backwards. I don't know.
He'll go Matt Patricia.
I don't know what he'll do.
We have a pencil behind his ear too.
He'll wear red tennis shoes all the time.
Yeah. He had
red Adidas.
He had red tennis shoes. Mm-hmm.
He seemed like he was trying to look very cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if it worked, but
he didn't want to be upstaged by Herbie
who
or Frank, who they gave Frank like a Nebraska hat off the rack.
See that hat I could see Matt
somebody run
pulling
over to
off.
the Huskers Authentic and grab him a hat.
Get him a hat immediately.
It's like Frank's not flashy. Don't worry about it. He's not picky.
Well, that's a good hat. That's a coach hat.
They didn't put the N on the side.
They missed
of the
an
hat,
opportunity.
Or it's an oversized N
to like Frank's coaching gear, those polos and those hats, to come, go throwback with him.
And his size 25 waist pants.
Yes.
That is small.
He's a little guy.
Small guy.
It is.
He's a small man.
It is. He blends in, I noticed.
Yeah.
Because of his size.
Yeah.
Like you went from Osborne, who stood out because he was tall, to Frank, who was, cock diesel, but smaller.
So Joel tweeted us remember a couple of years ago, they were doing the Script Huskers hats.
Yeah.
Those were good hats. Frost had that hat. I got a black version of that hat. That's a good hat.
Well, so Frost actually helped out their bottom line in the merchandise.
He sure
really
did.
But there were some stuff he would wear that you couldn't find anywhere else. Like people get upset.
The Yeezys.
People get upset if like they see like a player or a coach wearing something and they think it's team issued and they can't find it or it's not available to them.
Yeah, I do. I get upset. I'm one of those people.
Sometimes team issued is team issued, guys.
I know.
Strictly for the team.
So then you have me going up to the equipment people and saying, do you have an extra one?
That is exactly what I did.
And then they say, no, they actually only made 12. I tried to get a Nebraska basketball quarter zip.
Yeah.
They were, nice quarter zips. I was like, do you have any extra of these? They're like, no, we made 14 of them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, should have made like 50.
But I want to say, really? Because what happens
maybe
if someone gets a
2,000.
stain beyond repair? Do you have an extra for that coach?
Hey, if I was running the merchandise and we were having a sale, we needed to move some hats or some shirts.
Oh, yeah.
I'd say, hey, Rule, at practice today, can you wear this if you're doing media availability?
Or if the equipment people wanted to do like University of Nebraska garage sale
at the end of the year.
That would be significant.
I think Omaha did that one year.
Yeah, they still do it.
Yeah, it's a cool thing.
I would love. I still need a UNL hat. Evan, what are we doing?
You get some like Adidas trainers and stuff for like dirt cheap. Like
so you remember when Mac wore the baby blue?
I do.
And everybody wanted to go buy that.
Yeah.
And you couldn't find it.
Mm-hmm.
You couldn't.
But people, there's a lot of people that, especially around here, like to dress like the coach.
Yeah, they do.
Like they want to find out what the Nebraska football coaches are wearing, and they'll even buy the pants.
Because usually they got some cool cash gear going on. It's like, I could wear that in my everyday life, so I'd like that too.
Yeah, I want to dress like the coach and the players. I don't want any other stuff.
How soon before the players' sweatsuits that they wore on Saturday are available to the public?
Oh my God, I hope never. I don't want to see anybody walking around
look like a hazmat team,
looking like an ice cream cone.
Yeah, that was weird.
That was weird.
Where they are? Oh, there they are.
Here come the Jabberwockies.
Yeah, exactly. It was.
When they came out, they came out. I thought they were going to start doing a dance.
Yeah.
It was the Rihanna dancers from the Super Bowl.
Yep.
I won.
It was weird.
So if those aren't available to the public, but you start to see people, then players have sold them.
Yeah.
Yep.
They do have white. They do have websites like that where the players after their careers can go and sell them in like their quote unquote locker rooms and stuff like that. Like you could buy like practice basketball shorts, if you want some practice.
I don't know if I want
shorts
practice. Yeah, I don't.
From
there's certain things
James
you can
Palmer
go and keep.
Jr. or something like that.
Yeah.
You know what? Derek Walker and I share a lot of similarities. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
I'll take a guy that's 6'9" in his shorts.
There's just certain things you can
wear him as pants, basically.
Hammer pants.
Hammer pants. Exactly.
So did you come up with one thing that you would never buy, that you'll never pay for?
Oh, yeah.
Now, you didn't pay for air to your tires, did you?
No.
You didn't pay the $2?
On a football trip, the Iowa Western radio crew was forced to pay $2 for air in a story that will live in infamy.
So something you would never, ever pay for.
Never, ever pay for. Wow.
Because did you ever think you'd be paying for water?
Air.
Like a what? No. You just want to drink a water? You got to go.
Health care.
No, I'm an American. I knew I'd be paying for that.
Daycare is a tough one for me. I don't have a kid.
You're going to pay off the nose for it.
I don't have a kid. But every time I talk to
to
my friends, they're like, yeah, daycare costs so much money. And I'm like, man,
so
I got to find somebody to watch my kid.
A racket.
I am not.
It's a racket.
It's ridiculous.
I don't want to do
It's
that.
another mortgage payment.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to succumb to the system.
But would you agree, Josh, that when you first go in and do it, you're like, how the hell are we going to do this? But you somehow find a way.
Yeah.
You just find a way. And before you know it, it's just like, oh, okay, that's just part of our weekly costs.
Once you get past a certain age, you're like, okay, it's all downhill from here. Once they get into kindergarten, that cost goes down significantly. And then we are going to blow this money every month because we are not responsible.
Because we had budgeted for that.
Hey, Anthony, thanks for sharing the link of the hat.
Yeah.
That is a bad hat.
It's a horrible hat.
I got to see this.
Bad hat. Real bad.
I bet that's not selling well. Good job, Rule.
It was a tweet.
What if like spring game?
I just
they're
got
out of 7 5/8.
Hey, what about spring game?
never
See,
mind.
they
It's
missed
something
opportunity. Spring game, you should just have like multiple wardrobe changes by the head coach.
Yeah, that should be the rollout for the line.
Like he's on TV doing an interview in the first quarter and the fourth quarter, and it's two separate hats or shirts or hoodies.
So Adidas will make the stuff. And I believe they roll it out like August 1st or something like that for the upcoming year. So you'll see it pop up in the local stores or at the student union or something like that. But then it won't officially get rolled out until you see one of the football people at the press conference. So like there's like a month period there where they have the stuff, but nobody's worn it yet. So if you want to get in early, you could take a chance.
Did you see these ones from that Brad sent us? These vintage flannel ones?
I see.
Oh my!
I see Nate Rohr walking around with those with that all the time. That's a Nate Rohr hat.
I couldn't pull that off.
I couldn't either.
Wow.
But Nate Rohr looks like he could be from like 1926. So it works for him.
I would sweat.
He was wearing it on Saturday.
I would sweat through that thing like within 5 minutes.
It's like a wool hat.
Yeah. That's where me not having hair too would not go well.
Because a little athletic.
Yeah. That would have white salt sweat stains right there within a matter of minutes. No good.
All right, boys. Good luck on your searching of the websites today, such as T Ducky and X Frog Clothing.
T Ducky is verified on Twitter.
That's all that matters.
Have a good afternoon.
Oh, there are some bad. There's some bad hats out there.
Yeah, really bad.
That are like from Nebraska.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Got some bad stuff. That's Crossover. We'll start things off next.
That's the Crossover. The Connor Happer Show is next on 1620 The Zone. Previously on Unsportsmanlike Conduct.
I want Herbie to be a simple guy who has simple beliefs.
I'm just a simple
who
man.
still husks his own corn.
Modern farmer still husks their own
He doesn't
corn.
even have a damn cell phone. He's got a freaking landline with a really long cord so that he can walk and talk on the phone from the kitchen to the living room where he's still watching Hee Haw.
Why do you want new Herbie to be a 65-year-old man?
Unsportsmanlike Conduct with John Bishop and Josh Peterson. Weekdays 2 to 6 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from Canoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
A little bit more mild Monday with partly to mostly cloudy skies. There's a slight chance for a late day shower, though most will stay dry. Highs in the low to mid 60s. I'm meteorologist Sean Everson from KETV Newswatch 7.
It's spring. Now is the best time to shop at Lenahaw for all things garden or landscape. Our garden center is filled with the largest selection of homegrown plants, flowers, trees, and more. The area's best mulch and soil available for delivery and pickup. Rooted in quality, unmatched value. Lenahaw Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
Hey everybody, it's Michael Super for Rotella's Italian Bakery Bread. It's that time of year again. You know what time it is? Sandwiches. 100 days of the year, you'll want to eat sandwiches. In my opinion, it's the best meal out there. It all starts with Rotella's Italian Bread. That's where it starts. Go to 108th and Harrison, check out their location there, get the smells for free, buy the bread, or go to your local grocery store. It's over 100 great years serving the community and high-quality products. Get your 100 days of sandwiches in, starting at Rotella's. Rotella's Italian Bread, over 100 years of tradition.
Shop Sid Dillon Chevrolet, Nebraska's #1 volume Chevy dealer. Visit any of our 4 locations for your new Chevy or pre-owned vehicle, or at SidDillonChevy.com. Chevy, find new roads.
You are what drives us, Sid Dillon.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Subscription required. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Hey guys, did you know there's a generic form of Viagra that works just the same, but is 95% cheaper? And you can get it online? Just go to 4hims.com/radio. Through Hims, you'll get a free medical consultation, discreet shipping if prescribed, a 100% online process, and trusted generic alternatives to the name brands at up to 95% off. That's right. Get generic for Viagra, the same active ingredient as brand name Viagra, but for 95% less. It's the same medication, still prescribed by a licensed medical provider, but with zero copay, no expensive appointments, and no awkward face-to-face conversations. To start your free online visit, you need to go to this exclusive address, 4hims.com/radio. That's 4hims.com/radio for your free online visit. FORHIMS.com/RADIO.
Howdy, folks. Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. Zzz, blip. Did you know there's some fun open water fishing to be had this time of year? There is. In our cold water, northern and western Nebraska trout streams, wonderful spring-fed waters, support mainly rainbow and brown trout, and you could even work on your Trout Slam Challenge in those. Get more details at outdoornebraska.org. That's outdoornebraska.org. Jeep. Turning to the state parks, there's nature to experience. The playgrounds, campgrounds, and trails are all open, and be sure to check out the naturalist programs at state parks as well. For spring wild turkey hunting this year here in Nebraska, hunters take note, there are some major changes because of lower bird numbers. See us at the Game and Parks Commission for more information. That'll wrap it up for now. I'm Greg Wagner with the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
It's the Connor Happer Show with Connor Happer and Josh Odson. Let's get ready to rumble.
Licensing of the phrase "let's get ready to rumble" just over the last 7+ years internationally is grossed approximately close to $400 million in retail sales.
Really?
You guys look like, what do they look like, Jimmy?
Dorks. They look like a couple of dorks.
On 1620, The Zone.
All right, welcome in. Happy Monday. It's the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer and Josh Odson with you. The weekend was full of cold weather.
True, that's a fact. Yep.
So I guess we're just in this rhythm now where it's halfway decent during the week and then it's garbage on the weekend.
Don't like that.
Definitely cool. Definitely really cool.
Way to go, Mother Nature.
I guess that's what we're getting here in our fine state. But welcome in. Big spring game overreaction is live and here on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone. We're going to have Schaefer on in the 11 o'clock hour as we normally do. We'll have Sam on in the 1 o'clock hour as we normally do. And then, I want your thoughts. So 951-1620, that's the number to call. You can also text into the show as well. You could tweet at Happer Show on the JTech Construction Zone Twitter feed. You can email Connor at 1620thezone.com in the Equitable Bank inbox. What did you think of the spring game? All of it. Frank Solich, Herbie, Gatlin guns, hats, Little Red still being alive, Jeff Sims, fumbles, any other things you'd like to talk about from the game. Josh, how was your weekend?
It was good. I went to the zoo.
So you went to you did the pro move of going to the zoo during the spring game or during a Husker football related event.
Yeah, it wasn't that purposeful, but
no, I'm just saying,
it is what happened.
I mean, it's a pro move.
Yeah, it was very lightly attended.
I would
of the weather
say
and the spring game.
That's a really good time to do it. I've heard from a lot of people and that number unfortunately has been growing over the last several years of people who were like, yeah, this is when I'm gonna get stuff done for the 3.5 hours that Nebraska plays football. And guess what? You do great. You can get so much accomplished in the 3.5 hours that nobody else is doing anything. Nobody's at Home Depot. Nobody's driving around. You could just do you for 3.5 hours.
Got the place to yourself.
Now we hope Nebraska football could be in a place where maybe that isn't so much the case anymore, and you'd be compelled to watch them. But on Saturday, I'm not so sure that you were. For as much as they made it, they attempted to make it a real football game. It's always so difficult to come out of it with anything really serious. It's a good checkpoint. Where are we at? And now we really kick into gear the off season. Time to get in our bag, Josh.
Yeah, let's go.
We're going to talk about Colorado too. Plenty. I think we're like 130 some days out, low 130s at this point. So in a month we'll hit that milestone of 100 days until college football or until Nebraska football.
100 days until college football.
Exactly. We'll hit that really, really soon.
Here's the 99th best O-lineman from the 1980s.
Here's some guys who have worn number 99.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can't do it at 100 because you can't say here's some guys that have worn number 100. But it's Nebraska will have some guys go into the transfer portal over the next week, I guess, until that window ends. Nothing immediately. it seems. But I guess there was Alante Brown over the weekend, but we kind of thought that was happening anyway because he was away from the team from that point in time. And guess what? Guess who offered Alante Brown? Colorado.
Oh, well, they need players. A lot of people hit the portal this morning.
I got to be honest with you. So I was watching Nebraska spring game. I was there, and I was obviously interested and intrigued in everything that went on in that. But mid third quarter, I got bored. So I flipped open my laptop, and I went to ESPN, and I started watching the Buffs.
Oh wow,
I did. I mean, I was still had my eye on what was going on, a couple 100 feet below me, but
sure.
I watched. I have some thoughts. I'll give those to you a little bit later on in the show. Like I said, Schaefer will join. Sam McKewon will join. That's the lineup, powered by the Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard. A great day for Frank Solich, and Nebraska is going to name the new locker room after him. I thought that whole thing went really well. It was clean, and it seemed like Frank really enjoyed it. And that's I think we all just wanted that. Because as I said a couple weeks ago, this is sort of about, us getting, or Nebraska fans getting their moment of like, okay, Frank's okay. Frank's okay. You get to sort of wash it away a little bit. And all this was really about, I think, for a lot of Husker fans, is for him to come back, yes, be recognized, and having his name on the locker room is an incredible honor. And it makes a lot of sense to do that. But also just to see that smile on his face, and for him to get up, grab the microphone for a couple seconds and say, so what do you say? Let's go Big Red. What do you say? Hell yeah, Frank Solich.
It did seem like he was a little out of practice with the phrasing.
Well,
but that's okay.
That's Frank.
Yeah,
That's Frank. He's never been
not a rah-rah guy. Yeah,
never been a wordsmith.
It seemed like it meant a lot to him.
It did,
and that's important. He seems like he's the kind of guy like, okay, if you want to make a big deal of it, it's fine. And then he got there and was like, oh, this actually does mean a lot to me.
Yes, this is actually really cool. I feel like it's home, and there's people around here who like me. And then he said in the press conference on Friday, like, I know the clip that went viral was, I shouldn't say went viral. The clip that went around a lot. He said, hey, if there are any curses, they're gone now. And you know what he meant by that. He wasn't actually talking about a curse. He was talking about the people that were in charge of Nebraska athletics and Nebraska football, and have been in charge of Nebraska athletics and Nebraska football variously, for the last 20 years. Not pointing out anybody in particular, but got his face in the room somewhere. No mention of, by the way, can you see him? Yeah, he's right there.
He's lurking.
You see him?
Over your shoulder.
He's always lurking. No mention of him in particular, but it's not really about him. It's about Steve Peterson we're talking about, for those who are just listening along. No mention of him, and that's, but he's more so talking about what Nebraska football, Nebraska athletics has been, and the sense that everybody got was, hey, he thinks, or everybody thinks, Nebraska seems to be in the right hands as of right now. So that maybe makes it the right time. Come on back. And be honored. And, you don't want to let this just float away without getting some closure on it. So that's what it was. And I thought that part of it was really cool. I thought, actually, Josh, I didn't give you any heads up for this, but you want to pull open the Dropbox real quick? I have a bunch of audio from over the weekend from Rule, and then we'll hear from MJ Sherman a little bit too, because I thought that part was he's always a really sort of engaging guy. Rule, it seemed to me that this is what the day was about for him, as evidenced by, and I love when, like, a thing that we talk about as a joke throughout the week and months leading up to Frank Solich coming back actually becomes a thing. Hey, you know what they should do? They should run, they should turn around, hand it off to the fullback on the first play. Just, see what happens. So it was that. And Janier and Bonner is actually a story that we will talk about throughout the show today. And I imagine throughout the offseason into the fall. But also you had the 45-yard lines painted.
Was that just for the spring game, or are they going to do that all year?
That'll just be for the spring.
That's kind of what I thought.
That'll just be for the spring game.
I didn't know.
Judging off of the fact that people were confused, like in the comments, they were like, hey, what's going on over there at the 40, 45? Why is it only marked at the 45-yard line? What's the deal with that? Like, yeah, that's for Frank Solich. You were number 45. You play
just
here.
like Jordan.
Just like Jordan. Exactly. Many are saying that, Josh. But it really seemed like, Matt Rule, bad hat and all, he really embraced that. And then they took the ball over to him. I gave it to him, and he was extremely happy. I used the picture, the screenshot of BTN when they handed him the football. He's the happiest guy in the world. Here is Matt Rule on Saturday after the game and on the whole Frank Solich situation, number 4.
So my wife did like an event last night for the moms, all the moms of the players on the team. And halfway through it, I got a text from Coach. He was like, hey, Matt, I'd love it if you and Julie came upstairs to the event that he was having. He had former players there. And that was special to be a part of. I don't know how I got to be a part of it, but it was special to be a part of it. It was really special because at the end of the day, we all come and go as coaches, but, the impact he's had on his players was really, really important for me to be reminded of and to see. And so I'm just really, really grateful for him as a man and as a person and as a coach. He's someone I've always looked up to, but he's been so kind to me. And so, to hand the ball off to the fullback to first play and be able to hand the ball to him, that's kind of a bucket list item for me.
There was and we'll talk about this in a little bit with Schaefer, but every time you hear from Rule, to sort of transition over to that part now, every time you hear from Rule, there is a really genuine, I feel this history around me, and I am so lucky. We talked about this on Thursday, right, Josh? Like, he feels indebted to Nebraska. He feels indebted to Tom Osborne. He feels indebted to Frank Solich and the people who have come before him because he gets to be in charge. I mean, this is a guy who grew up on the East Coast, and you could talk to anybody who is about his age, and they'll say, man, the reverence that I had for Nebraska football when I was growing up. And he falls into that category really firmly. And he says, I'm just, you just really get the sense every time he talks, I'm lucky to be here. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy to be in charge. I feel this huge weight and responsibility on my shoulders to make it good because we have 66,000 people show up and it's 40 degrees and it's windy and it's miserable. And all the stuff and the history that surrounds Nebraska football. That's what I get from him. So he understands it. Like when you take responsibility for it, you understand it and you learn the history and you talk to people. And that's what he's done. So that's another reason why. And Rule's part in this, I don't think can be understated that much. Whether it's Frank Solich or Tom Osborne or, whoever's, Trev Alberts, whoever's in charge now, for those reasons, they feel like Rule is the right guy to have in this moment. Maybe he wins a bunch of games, maybe he doesn't. But it's definitely been a really, it's been sort of a bonding experience, I think, for the state. And that's what that was all about, rallying into the theme of the weekend for the spring game and all the other festivities that went on. Elsewhere, we will talk about what happened to Nebraska baseball over the weekend. It was not good. There was a draft entrant of note for the Creighton Blue Jays, Arthur Kaluma, maintaining his collegiate eligibility. Do we expect him back at Creighton? I don't know. We'll go through some guys that we noticed during the spring game, real takeaways, not real takeaways. Got a few thoughts in already on the Equitable Bank inbox. Continue to send those in. We'll pour through those as we go on throughout the show. We'll come back and have more from Rule and your reaction on 1620 The Zone.
Big names, big games. We've got them all. 1620 The Zone.
Did you know the Salvation Army has thrift stores conveniently located around the Omaha metro area, and each one has bargains you won't find anywhere else? Come in today for deals on clothing, accessories, furniture, kitchenware, and more. Stop by, get a great deal, and make a big difference for people in need. For a list of store locations, just go to salarmyomaha.org. That's salarmyomaha.org. Thanks for your support.
Hi, this is Kathy Kenoyer with Kenoyer Garden Center. The beauty and color of spring is in our greenhouse, featuring thousands of gorgeous hanging baskets and hundreds of varieties of Kenoyer grown product. Come in and talk with our family of employees who will help you find what you're looking for. Whether it's home decor, annuals, perennials, shrubs, tropicals, or vegetables, we have it all. Kenoyer Garden Center is located between Highway 370 and Cornhusker on 66th Street in Papillion. Open daily, 9 to 7.
At Kenoyer Garden Center, everybody's got a green thumb.
Roxanne Watson is on a mission to have more people sign up as organ, eye, and tissue donors. What drives her? Roxanne received a heart transplant made possible by an organ donor.
I decided that day to devote myself to signing up the most people in the United States. That's my goal.
Now she's a powerful force for good. What could you make possible as an organ, eye, and tissue donor? Leave behind the gift of life. Go to organdonor.gov. U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Health Resources and Services Administration.
As the world faces the challenges of the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, Lions recognize that kindness matters now more than ever. And Lions and Leos are finding ways to continue to serve our communities, including ordering food delivery for healthcare workers, holding story time for children online, and providing surgical masks to medical professionals and first responders. Empowering us to do more, Lions Clubs International Foundation has provided nearly $2.5 million in grant funding for COVID-19 relief. And that support continues to grow. For more than 100 years, in times of need, Lions always find a way to help those around them. And after we emerge from this, we will be stronger than ever. Visit lionsclubs.org to learn more.
Over the past few years, the COVID-19 pandemic has affected how we live our daily lives.
Today, 1 in 5 Americans experience emotional and mental health challenges, but many of us do not understand what we are facing or how to ask for help.
At the American Psychiatric Association Foundation, we work every day to eliminate stigma, combat mental illness and substance use disorders, and advance mental health.
If you or someone you love needs help, you are not alone. Please visit mentallyhealthynation.org to learn more.
Hey, baseball fans, join the Blur Tailgate at Hilton Omaha this June for our 11th annual hospitality event during the College Baseball Championship Series. Book an experience for your clients or employees with an inclusive bar, buffet, TVs, music, and tailgate games. Secure your spot today and let us handle all the details steps away on the south side of Charles Schwab Field. Visit blurevents.com to book your group, buy tickets, or learn about sponsorships. That's blurevents.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination. Blur Events takes care of all the work so you can enjoy the day.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
So am I under, as a sports talk radio host in Nebraska today, am I under an obligation, Josh? Let's suss this out. To, say what I think, how many games I think they're going to win?
That seems to be the popular poll question from sports radio hosts / shows that cover the Nebraska football team. Yes. I got no idea.
It says on the board for me right now, 5.2. John is at 4.1. John is a hater.
That's kind of the one thing I was interested over the weekend, more so than anyone's prediction of a record. Did any of you three see anything over the weekend that makes your number go up or down?
No. Well, I think you all have expectations going in based on what you've heard in the spring, based on what you've heard just in general, and what they had coming off of last year and rules history. You have to math it all up. It's a math equation. As I've said all along, I am confident that they will be a competent football team. There are
even after Saturday.
Yes, there are some things that I have had concerns about and then continue to have concerns about. Like, the fumbles, people will talk about the fumbles like, hey, they were pretty sloppy. It fumbled 8. Like, they're not going to fumble 8 times during a football game. With that being said, maybe it's not the worst thing in the world that they had that performance on Saturday, and then, you could actually sort of address it. Maybe it's happenstance. Maybe it's just, I don't know, whatever the fumbling was. They're not going to fumble 8 times a game or 6 or whatever it ended up being.
8 fumbles, 6 loss.
I was more concerned about this sort of inconsistency in the run game in general. Now, I say this on April 24th after the spring game, and you also have to keep in context what spring practice is. You're halfway through your offseason. You do not have a full team yet. You are building towards something. Basically, you're not meant to have a ready-made product on April 22nd. You're not. If you played a game on April 22nd and then you stop that sentence right there, you don't. You don't play a football game on April 22nd. You play practice against each other, and it's hard to get takeaways. But there was a lot of conversation about the offensive and defensive lines this spring, and I think there was sort of this injection of confidence for Matt Rule and getting those guys going a little bit. I still have my concerns there. I didn't see anything. Like, if they would have came out and really ran the ball all over the number one defense, I'd have been like, oh, wow, we actually do have something here. There's something going on. But it was inconsistent. There was a lot of running into various, pressures right where it came from. I think some of that you have to give credit to Tony White and his scheme. But as far as the personnel there, I am not, I'm not all the way bought into the narrative of, these guys are going to be markedly improved. I think they're going to get behind them and run it in a more in ways that make more sense for the type of team they have, which is good. But I do come out of the spring game thinking, well, I'm glad they have Jeff Sims because they're going to need his ability to make plays a little bit.
Did you come away from watching the team on Saturday with any, I know this team in the fall will be able to execute XYZ. Like, I know they'll be able to do this in games.
No.
Yeah, I didn't really either.
No, not really.
Yeah.
And I don't even think if they would have really hammered one of those things home on Saturday, I would have been like, yeah, well, this is kind of who they are. But that's just more of a nature of spring than anything.
Yeah.
It's just the fact that it's spring ball. So I guess my answer would be no. Maybe if there's one thing, and then you get to the individual level. I think there's a lot you could take away from the individual level. How have guys progressed? What do they look like for the first time in Husker uniform? Like, what's this picture look like compared to in the past? How are they looking at this point in their development? And that's where you get to Sims. Like I said, I'm glad that they have him. He's your number one quarterback. I do not know the gap between 1 and 2, but I have to, assuming 2 is Casey Thompson. But I assume it's significant at this point.
Okay.
We haven't seen Casey Thompson do anything since last football season, and he did have the knack for running a little bit at Texas, but they're going to use Jeff. It doesn't have to be designed. It doesn't have to be automatically like 10, 15 times a game, but I think it's pretty clear to me that in this offense, with the offensive line, with what they're trying to do, they're going to have the quarterback go off script and make some plays sometimes. And they're going to have him, consistently throw the football. I think if there's a couple knocks on Casey, he's not a terribly, he can make plays in the context of, I can scramble and create extra time for myself. I don't know about him as a runner. He's not the biggest guy in the world.
Yeah, there's a difference between those two skill sets.
There is a difference. And I do think, it gets lost in last year and what they were on offense. And Casey was the best player that they had on the offensive side of the ball. He was their saving grace. And when he went out, Nebraska just tanked. That is a commentary on what they had following up Casey Thompson last year. mean, he has a knack for being inconsistent throwing the football as well. And I think Sims has that too. But he just gives you more as a runner. Here is Matt Rule on Saturday. You know, Matt Rule. After the game and his evaluation of Sims, just and we're going to hear this a lot from Matt Rule in post-game press conferences. He's going to say, I got to watch that tape. You know, I got to watch the film. That's what you're going to, you're going to hear that a lot. So just prepare for it. But so this is after that. And here's Rule on Sims' evaluation of him at the moment and what he could do. Sorry, go ahead.
I can't tell you the final numbers, 9 of 13. I thought it looked like it was on time. I thought it looked like it, he's a passer. He's a passer who runs 4.4. He's not a runner who throws. He's a passer. And I think he did some things with his legs, extending plays. Had dead to rights on the one he spun out. So that's really what we're looking for from him. Weren't able to get the big explosive, play maybe that we wanted, but I'll hit the glance to Marcus, which was really good. So I thought, when I stand out there, I only stand out there just to sort of see what it feels like, because I don't ever get that opportunity. And I thought it felt pretty good when he was out.
If there is an overreaction, it's this. And I don't want to comment on like what the full scope of the offense is going to be yet, but I was a little, like I said, I was a little concerned about their inability to consistently run it. Now, you could say on the other side, if they would have consistently run it, then what's that mean for the defense? And that's fair too. But that's been a concern. I think it continues to sort of be a concern. So my overreaction takeaway would be there are going to be, I think, some times where you may just have to let him cook. Let Jeff cook. Speaking of t-shirts, put that up one on froggy.com or whatever it was. Let Jeff cook a little bit. He is, just getting to see him on the field for the first time up close. He is an impressive athlete, body type, the way I always like guys. This is where it's the NFL draft this week. So we're going to talk about hand size and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So there's always something about a guy who looks the way that they have their hands on the football to me, and they look like they could just pull that thing back and throw it 150 yards if they wanted to, because it looks like a pill in their hands.
Mm-hmm.
Sims, he looks like that. He's what, probably 6'4". He runs really, really smoothly. And I think he throws it really smoothly as well. He stepped into one over the middle, threw a pretty good looking deep ball. I think he'll be inconsistent throwing the football on the run. But does the things that are required and can make some outstanding plays. And I think Nebraska needs more explosive playmakers just generally everywhere. Now, that's where you get into the question, are you going to put too much on him? Maybe, and you don't want to run yourself into that situation. But I was just impressed by the look of him. And then there was Heinrich Harburg.
Hot Heine Summer.
Is Hot Heine Summer canceled? I think this with Heinrich Harburg. When they brought him in, he immediately ran the triple option, basically.
Yeah.
And I think that's his space. I think that's his path. And I don't think it's anything really. All the highlights that we've seen of him really are running the football or running over somebody.
Yeah.
Stiff arming somebody. I think this is actually the type of quarterback that, and he's a big physical guy. He's still kind of wiry, but he's a big physical guy. I think you could really use him as a fun, change of pace option guy. I don't think you're giving him a whole drive and say, hey, Heinrich, run the offense. I think you have better options for that. So he's there. And, there was some good, some bad out of young Richie. But I don't think he'll be a factor in this thing. And then there's the Casey part of it. Somebody texted in earlier and they were or emailed in. They're like, hey, look, if there's one thing that I thought from this game, it's you got to make sure you keep Casey Thompson. And I don't disagree with that. That's as good of that's as qualified as a backup quarterback as you can have, in the country. You know what he could do. He could actually give you a little bit more, I think, than what quite a bit more actually than what a backup quarterback. You still have to adjust it to him a little bit because, like I said, I don't think he's quite as good of a runner. You still have to form it around him. He would be a really, really overqualified backup quarterback at Nebraska. But the question that's never been the question. Of course, you want to keep Casey Thompson. You want him to be here. The question has always been, does he? Is that a situation that fits him? And that's the question we don't know the answer to. But give him credit. I mean, he is active in the planning and with his teammates and all. He's a good teammate. People have come to really like and respect him, I think, in that locker room. So if you could find a way to keep him in the building, then yes, I think by all means you would want to do so. Jeff texts into the show.
Hi, Jeff.
Is pretty disappointed in Harburg. Good runner, but kept throwing balls in the dirt. And they took that long sack too, where Maverick Newton chased him down. Don't worry about that. I don't think that's the role for Heinrich Harburg. Yeah, he's got to get rid of that football just as a quarterback, But you drop some plays for him, and he could be a really good change of pace guy if you want to use him a handful of times a game at the max, right? That was my takeaway from Harburg. Anyway, so he was one of the guys. Sims was one of the guys on Saturday. I don't know what that means for Casey Thompson, but I'm pretty dang sure that's your starting quarterback. I think we could sort of put that to bed a little bit. And then there were some other guys who popped up as well. We talked about Bonner. Look at Bonner. Nebraska has a real-life fullback who could do some other things for you too, and he's a former wide receiver, tight end, and now fullback. And Janiran, I'm never sure which one, Bonner. That was a fun little wrinkle to what they did on Saturday, and it feels like he's excelling in that spot. Billy Kemp.
That was the guy I was attracted to, lasered in on.
You're attracted to Billy?
I am. Love a fourth, yeah.
Young Billy. Barring a real jump from anybody else in that wide receiver room, and I think Marcus Washington is a good number 2 option. Billy Kemp is another number 1 wide receiver who has come out of the transfer portal for Nebraska over the last couple of years. He is not a number 1 receiver in the same way that, oh boy, Trey Palmer was. Although, really, it's interesting though, because they've had these 3 really good receivers. I think what Kemp will be a really good receiver. 3 good guys over the last 3 years now: Trey Palmer, Billy Kemp. They don't have the look and the feel of like the X guy that you just put on the outside and you have him go win a one-on-one route. Like they don't have that look and feel.
Right.
But they are playmakers. That's the deal. They're playmakers. And I think that's probably what Billy Kemp had a whole bunch of production at Virginia, but he was sort of a, hey, safety blanket, we trust you guy. I think you could be that while at the same time getting a little loose. And I think Nebraska, would appreciate that from him on an offense that doesn't have too many of them. Gabe Ervin, I think Gabe Ervin is your number 1 back as of right now. Now, I don't know if that means he's a 1,000-yard rusher and there's somebody else or 2 other guys that can run for 300 or 400. Maybe it's spread out a little bit more evenly. But I thought that was a guy. And then there were some guys like Gage Stenger who popped out and made some plays on the defensive end. MJ Sherman, I thought, was, did his job during the game. Sincere Safiula was the guy that popped up a little bit on the defensive side of the ball. Am I missing any shout out guys just right off the bat?
We are going to have to learn how to say Prince Well's last name.
Uman Mielen.
That's
when he committed, I found
this is the guy who had the brother
correct
saying his name, right?
Princely
is the brother.
Is the brother. He played at well, did he transfer? He transferred somewhere. He was at Florida at the time. And they have the cool thing on their website where you can go in and click, and it will have the players say their name for you, which is a very good tool.
It is
for broadcasters and people that need to learn how to say people's names. Just to shout out to that. And he said, and I grabbed the recording and I still have it on my computer, Princely Umanmielen. Or Umanmielen, kind of like slur that. So that's what I'm going with. And yes, he did pop up a lot. We'll talk about this later, but and we've certainly done it before. They are not going to be afraid to play those younger guys. It's good. It's good for development. You can put them in there, let them make some mistakes, and also let them make some plays. So they'll do that, and I think the sort of freedom of what they do in their defense will allow them to should scheme up some plays as well. We'll keep an eye on anything that happens portal wise. I'm not expecting anything, but it's the day after the spring game, so you never know what might happen. And then there's a whole bunch of random things from the game that I'd like to get into throughout the show today, and we will do that with Mike Schaefer of Husker 24/7. He will join the show next on the Connor Happer Show, 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Baseball season is here, and when you need tickets, be sure to check out my friends over at Tickets for Less. Whether you're looking to get out and see the Storm Chasers play or want to catch a college game, ticketsforless.com is your source for the best selection of tickets with zero per ticket fees at checkout. All you have to do is download the newly updated Tickets for Less app or head over to ticketsforless.com or call right here in Omaha, 402-398-1999 to find your seats and get extra savings when you use the promo code THEZONE at checkout today.
Email unsportsmanlike conduct on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox with whatever is on your mind, from your hot takes to what you think is one. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
Businesses of Omaha, settling for a website that looks like it's stuck in the early 2000s? Then it's time to level up with JM Online. Our local team builds custom websites that solve unique business needs. We're not your typical web design company. We're your partners in online success. Ready to take your website to the next level? Go to jmonline.com and request an initial call.
PACE, Police Athletics for Community Engagement Organization, is dedicated to preventing at-risk and disadvantaged inner-city children from becoming involved in street gangs, crime, drug use, and victimization. Last year, PACE served over 5,000 area kids with wholesome competition and free participation in soccer, baseball, CrossFit, and flag football. To help PACE and local families make sure kids have access to safe and fun spring and summer activities, please go to paceomaha.org to support the PACE mission. Thank you.
Cards issued by Sutton Bank and Celtic Bank, members FDIC. Terms and conditions apply.
Are you the decision maker in your company? Consider this. For the first time in decades, there's a better option for a corporate card and spend management platform. Meet Ramp, the only corporate card and spend management system designed to help you spend less money so you can make more. Most corporate credit cards offer points as incentives, but those points amount to less than their worth in real cash value. Ramp's business cards offer you cash back, real money in your pocket. Plus, you control who spends what with each vendor. And Ramp software collects and verifies receipts automatically, which means you'll stop wasteful spending and close your books in hours instead of days. Businesses that use Ramp add up to 3.5% to their bottom line the first year. If you're a decision maker, adding Ramp could be one of the best decisions you've ever made. And now get $250 when you join Ramp. Just go to ramp.com/sports. Ramp.com/sports. ramp.com/sports.
Here come the Guardians.
Yeah, I have statistics to back up that we have people that listen.
Mike Schaefer.
Anytime there's sort of a debate as to who can do something, Happer would always put his name forth, for sure.
Husker 24/7 on the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
I could be a star.
That's right. It's time for a big spring game overreaction. Mike Schaefer of Husker 24/7 joins us now on the phone. Schaefer, good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well. How we doing? A couple days post Nebraska spring game. How you feeling?
Fine. Well, they're gonna fumble 8 times a game, and the curse is broken. Let's see. What are some other takeaways? The new Herbie is kind of weird. And had a lot of hype videos. Those are basically my main thoughts from the spring game.
No thought that they're going to rename the Bronco Nagurski Award to the Prince Wilhelm Allen.
Ooh, good idea. Yeah, I mean, probably 3-4 years down the line, we could expect that too.
Yeah, that's just the groundwork was laid on that one.
Let's start with quarterback. Sims, we didn't see much of Jeff Sims, a few drives, and he came back in the second half a little bit. Did he check all the boxes for you as far as what you were sort of expecting, regardless of how much or how little he played? Obviously, there seems to be a pretty big gap between 1 and 2. What'd you think of Jeff Sims?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that he looked what I sort of expected him to. I mean, he's athletic. He's got a pretty good arm. The pass that he had to Nate Borkircher was a nice throw. Like, he zipped it right in there for probably the biggest gain of the day at 39 yards. The lack of explosive plays on Saturday was kind of a concern, but it was so disjointed. It's hard to take a ton away from it. So I don't want to make too much about that. But yeah, Jeff Sims is largely who I thought he was going to be. I mean, that touchdown run he had against the defense in the second quarter, where I think he broke an arm tackle of Kane Williams. Like, that's kind of what I expect this team to be in the red zone. Like, a little bit Adrian Martinez-esque, where, if you're not able to just throw it in or run it in normally, you've got this guy that when he has to, he is athletic enough that he really is going to put stress on a defense, and he can pick up those kind of short touchdown runs in the red zone. Like, I think that's a preview of what we're really going to see a lot of.
I think so too. And especially because when you add it with this, I mean, you don't want to overreact too much. It's hard to take too much away. What did you think about just their ability to like conventionally run the ball? It's great to have Sims, in your back pocket as a guy who can absolutely make plays, as we saw with his legs a little bit. But like, I don't know. There was a lot of chatter about the offensive line this spring, and I think Rule wants to get them confident a little bit. How much, if anything, are you taking away from their ability to, sort of hand it off to the running back and go?
Yeah, at times it worked really well. At times they went straight into where the pressure was coming from. And it felt like when they caught Nebraska's defense leaving an area and running into that area, that's when they had their kind of success. So some of it is the defense that they went against in the spring game is weird. Like, I don't think they're going to see a lot of that from their opponents. They're going to probably see more traditional stuff. And so can they just line it up on 3rd and short and get a first down? We're not going to be able to answer that question until next fall. But that's like been the thing about Nebraska football for the last half decade. They can't run when they need to. And I don't know that I feel super confident that they're going to be able to do that now. But I thought the line, just listening to the various people this spring, I thought the line looked fine. I thought they had, a pretty good spring. They still had their own issues. They still dealt with, trying to figure out where that pressure was coming from, more so on pass blocking plays. I still don't think Turner Corcoran can really play left tackle. I think we need to just pick that and put it aside forever. But they don't have anyone else that really can either. I mean, when Norrie's swinging over there to play left tackle, it tells you how thin they are without Teddy Prohaska. So I think if they have a healthy Prohaska, if they're good to go next fall, I think the offensive line will be okay. But I don't know that we could take a ton out of Saturday one way or the other and spin it to where we feel great or horrible about the performance.
Were you surprised that Rule said, I mean, you never know, but they seem like they're not, going to be totally active in the transfer portal. I'm sure if something falls into their lap, particularly he was asked about the offensive line and sort of how do you create more depth there. He's like, well, you got to work with the guys that you have. I was mildly surprised that he didn't leave that door open at least a little bit more. What did you think?
I think the door is open in so much as if it's the right guy in the right situation and they have the roster spot, they'll take it. But, today starts kind of this period where at least 13 to 15 people probably are going to be leaving the program or be reassigned from a scholarship guide to an NIL walk-on. So I think a lot of it is they have to figure out that. I mean, they're way over on the roster numbers. So before you can really sit there and talk about what you're going to bring in, you have to figure out who's leaving and, how many spots you're actually going to have and everything else. And so I think he's trying to be genuine when he says that you've got to focus on what's there right now. And at the same time, if there's a lineman that they think can help them, they're not going to hesitate to at least put their name in the derby. Whether or not they can get to the point where the kid wants to visit and ultimately commit and everything else remains to be seen. But I think they would at least consider adding another offensive lineman if they could.
We've talked about this a little bit, but they are not afraid to roll out some younger guys, and those guys, especially on the defensive side, seem to be the aforementioned future Bronco Nagurski name holder, Princewell, Uman Mielen, and then and there was good stuff from Cam Lenhart, and Maverick Noonan had a good chase down as well. Like I think we need to just sort of put that aside and say, hey, these guys are going to play. It's somewhat because I think they want to develop them, and the only way to get the true development piece is if you actually play them. But also, I mean, they're up there. They were missing a lot of guys on the defense on Saturday, and that's something to be noted too. But I think it's fair to expect those guys are going to be out there on the field, in the 1s and 2s for Nebraska this fall.
Yeah, I thought that, in particular, Lenhart and Princewell looked really good. They look like they belong in this whole thing. And then you mentioned Maverick Noonan, and a name that got sent to me that I didn't notice as much, but other people have been talking about is Sincere Tapuya on the defensive back end. So they have several freshmen that enrolled early that I think gave real cases that they're not going to be redshirt guys. And one of the things that Matt Rule did at both Temple and Baylor is he played young people early, maybe earlier than what would be expected, because that's going to be the backbone of the classes and the groups that he thinks or he thought would be successful at those places. And they ended up being that way. I don't know if he has to do that as much here, but at a position where we've been looking for years for someone who just flashes, to have two freshmen in Lenhart and Princewell that feel like they could be, guys, whether in the near future or the long-term future, that can help you get after a quarterback. And they both talk and act like veterans already.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good sign for this program. Because I also like the two defensive linemen that, were just hanging out on the sidelines in this 2023 class, and Vincent Carroll Jackson and Riley Van Poppel. I think we could be talking about a really interesting defensive line group if this whole thing comes together the way that it could.
I continue to be impressed. I know we talked about this before, but MJ Sherman, he comes up after the game, and he didn't pop too much during the game. But every time I hear him talk, he's really engaging and interesting and has a different perspective on things. I feel like that's a guy who they've sort of empowered a little bit and said, you can come here. Obviously, you have the opportunity to play. And he talked a little bit about being in a leadership role as well and how much he enjoys that. I just continue to sort of be, I don't know, blown away is the right word, but I love listening to the guy talk, and you hope that sort of, turns it. And you know what? He sounds like Rule a little bit when he talks too. So something is obviously clicking with MJ Sherman.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of guys do. I think that's always one of the truest signs of the transition is when the players start talking like the coaches, and the amount of guys that were using the phrase elite and then, talking about how they have to own a standard and stuff like that. I mean, I think that's reflective of Rule's communication style and his leadership and everything else, and that's trickled down now. So for that to be MJ Sherman as well doesn't really surprise me. But I'm with you. I think from an emotional leadership standpoint, I think he's a very valuable piece He obviously has to back it up with what he can do on the field. Just coming from Georgia doesn't mean that he's going to be a good player, but he's had a good spring. And I think he's empowered other people around him where it's like, hey, you got this great opportunity here in front of you. Like, you got to work for it. Like, he talked to the first interview he did. He talked about the biggest difference he felt between Georgia and everybody else in the country is the discipline that was instilled of like, okay, you're at this place, the expectations are high, and you're obviously good enough to be here. What are you going to do with it? And so he wanted to bring some of that to Nebraska, where it's like, okay, you're playing D1 football. You're at a place that absolutely cares about football. What are you going to do with it? And I think that's a big part of what's next for this team. Because one of the things we always do is we always talk up the spring and we talk about all the progress and everything that's being made. What happens? The spring ends. And then there's that period in between. And Ethan Piper talked about this. I think some other guys did too. The next few months are really critical. Like, they can't just go back to reverting to previous habits. They can't just kind of ignore the progress that they've made. They have to continue to keep working. Like, just because spring ball has stopped doesn't mean the season is on pause. They have to continue to work forward. And I think having Ethan Piper and MJ Sherman and some of these guys voice that on Saturday, I thought was really critical for kind of the maturation of where they're at in this transition with Matt Rule.
I'm sure you've thought about the irony of Willis McGahee's kid committing on the same day that Nebraska honored Frank Solich.
I didn't really think about that a ton, but that is pretty funny. I heard that kid was so ready to commit to Nebraska that he wanted to do it at like 5 a.m. when he woke up because he was waiting, I think, on a video that he could then post, because I think they had like a video that, of him at Nebraska. And he wanted to do it. He made it all the way, I guess, at 9. He finally got the green light to go ahead and commit to Nebraska on Saturday morning. I thought that was pretty great. Yeah. Tells you that he obviously likes what he saw here a lot. I don't want to make this a boogeyman thing, but Miami is going to be in the picture until they're not. Like, if they completely decide they're out on Willis McGahee, I think Nebraska is in great shape. If they make an offer, I think Nebraska fans have to accept that he could end up flipping. But otherwise, I think they've got a really intriguing kid from the Miami area. Obviously, great football lineage and, an interesting position. He's probably a little bit of an undersized edge rusher, but he's been very productive so far in his career.
What else did you take away from the recruiting side?
They again had good visits in. A lot of California flavor here. I think Nebraska is going to go land a few commitments. Some guys that visited, some guys that didn't, that are just ready to jump on board. I think it's been a little slow, and I see that kind of picking up now. And then they're going to go out on the road and evaluate. But I thought it was great that Caleb Pipeline was there. I caught up with him and Christian Jones and talked with a few other guys. And, locally, I think Matt Rule has kind of turned the tide a little bit with a number of these guys. And I feel they're in a pretty good spot. I mean, it shouldn't be lost. Last week, Caden Vermont from Millard North committed to Nebraska for the 2025 class. And so he's already had some success. I think that will help him, moving forward there. And then if they're able to land, a Brandon Baker or any of these guys out west, the multitude of visitors they had that were really good from California could really set them up out there too. But that's kind of, in the low percentage territory. But those guys had good visits. Now it's, can Nebraska and Tony White and everyone follow up on it?
You know what? And just thinking, because we always think about recruiting weekends and then like the weather is thrown in there too. And they still had, 60,000 plus on what was sort of a miserable day on Saturday. Going through Rule's press conference again, I was like, he didn't talk about the wind. He didn't talk about the bad weather. Like, he's not an excuse maker. And he even mentioned that at one point during the press conference. I just feel like maybe in years past, that would have been a huge storyline for the game. Yeah, we weren't able to do too much because, the wind and all that stuff. So we were just out there. Like, it's striking to me how much that the ancillary stuff, and it's not ancillary, that's an important piece of any football game, but they just don't talk about that. They're just like, we have to do our job regardless of the situation.
I would suspect that just comes from having coached in the NFL where no one cares.
Yeah.
Like, you might have to play on a Sunday in blizzard conditions, and that's just what it is because you're a professional. So suck it up and do it. Like, I think that's the mindset. And I also think, like, part of it, and this is just me guessing here, it's not like Matt Rule's ever just come out and said this. I think he views the game of football as such a privilege that the idea of being unhappy with the circumstances of which you have to play in doesn't dawn on him, because he's so happy to have the opportunity to take a football team out there and play a game on Saturday. Like, I think his perspective is unique to what, we've had a lot of coaches around here where it's all constant grousing about everything that has nothing to do with what's going on the football field. And now there's a coach that really all he wants is to just go out and play football, and the rest of it takes care of itself. And I think we have to adjust to like, oh, this is kind of unique. Like, there's a guy here who's not going to make a big deal about the weather. He's not going to make a big deal about what the conditions are. It doesn't matter who's on the schedule or that they play. His career at Nebraska opens on a Thursday night in a conference game. But other coaches in the past would have been complaining about this endlessly, either to the media or behind the scenes to the media. That hasn't really been the case with Matt Rule. I think he just takes things as they happen because he regards football as a privilege. That's how I view it from him, 6 months into this whole thing.
Schaefer, I was not able to cobble together some links today, but I will not, just trust me, I will not allow this bit to die. So we'll just we'll stockpile the celebrity news for another week, and we'll bring it back next week.
All right. Well, if you have any links about earlobes being chewy like barnacle meat, I would click on that. So, those of us that watch the session, you understand that reference.
Yep. Any Succession content I'm here for. Schaefer, have a good week, man.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. There he goes. That's Mike Schaefer of Husker 24/7. And throwing in a Succession reference just warms my heart.
That is the quickest way to your heart. Yes.
I don't know how you guys, because you were firing off texts to me we've started a little Succession mini group chat with me, you, and other Josh. And you were firing off some quotes last night. I was like, man, I don't know how you guys remember these things, but I would love to remember all the Succession insults that fire off during a single episode, but I just can't, I can't wrap my brain around remembering even a single one of them.
You got to remember 2 or 3 and just hold on tight to those, because you're not going to remember them all.
I'm always good for like a Greg line. Quad Squad.
Quad Squad. It's the title of today's episode.
Like barnacle meat. What are we talking about? But yeah, that show did it again. Good job by them. 5 left. It's a good show.
They're in their bag.
You guys should watch it. Good stuff from Schaefer. And like I said, we touched on the part a little bit before where he's like, I think he's just genuinely happy to be here, all that stuff, and takes all of it. But you'll listen to it and listen to Rule's press conference, and we can compare it. Can we be okay? Can we be okay with this? We're going to compare it to Scott Frost. I'm sorry. It's not about dunking on Scott Frost. It's like, I'm not doing it because I dislike the guy. It's because I think Matt Rule goes about his business in a more mature way than Scott Frost does. But you listen to those press conferences and you tie them together back to back. And, Scott got killed so much in his time here for making excuses that by the end of his time here, he would always, when he was about to make excuses or actually followed through with making excuses, he would say, I'm not trying to make excuses here. But that was always the tip off of like, here's my excuse. They just won't talk about it. But Rule just doesn't talk about it. I'm saying if they played a game, if they did the spring game yesterday or Saturday, just like it was, and Scott Frost was the coach here, he would have talked about how the wind was such a significant factor and the weather was such a significant factor that they really couldn't do anything they couldn't really do what they wanted to do. And maybe that's the truth. And I think Scott Frost would tell you that's the truth, and Matt Rule would probably tell you that's the truth. That's probably a reason why it looked the way it did on Saturday. I believe that. But if you don't talk about it, if you don't perpetuate it, then it won't become a thing. So they have to have the expectation in that locker room that regardless of the circumstances, regardless of the weather, regardless of where you're playing in the crowd and who you're playing against, they have a job to do, and they're going to do it. And if they don't, it's because they didn't. It's not because of the other stupid things. It's not because of the other factors. Like, I'm a big believer that the weather is a significant factor in a football game. But if you don't talk about it, then you won't believe it as a football team. That's a message to his team without saying it out loud. It's, I don't think it's a lesson or anything like that either. It's just, if you are about it, you don't have to say you're about it. They're just about it, and that in itself is pretty refreshing. Josh has the odd news coming up next, but don't forget our many online tickets you could win this week for various shows. John Party to Baxter on October 20th, Doobie Brothers on June 17th, Chris Stapleton at the Chai on July 19th, and Jelly Roll at the Chai on August 25th. Go to 1620thezone.com right now and get registered to win tickets.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley.
So people said the man bun.
Yeah.
Do you know that that's not what it's called this day?
What is it called these days?
It is called, I wrote this down, a top knot.
A top knot? I
Did not know that.
I like
So it
that's
has
better
gone-
than a man bun.
It has gone from the man bun to the top knot. That's how it is described.
Okay, I need to transition into that because it's man bun. It's been thrown out there so many times, easy to use. Top knot, now that's kind of fun. Yeah, okay.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from Canoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly cloudy skies for your Monday afternoon with a few peaks of sunshine out there. Staying mild with a high in Omaha of 64 with light southeasterly winds up to 10 miles an hour. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy skies, mild again with a low near 42 and light winds up to 10 miles an hour. I'm meteorologist Kaylin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
Email us on the Equitable inbox with whatever is on your mind. The Zone inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can hit me up, agree, disagree, tell me your thoughts on life at Handley at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox.
Husker football will be here before you know it, and Tickets for Less has you covered with the best selection of seats to every home game this season. Forget about that Michigan game. And also on April 22nd, the spring game. Shop for your tickets and save with 0 per ticket fees at ticketsforless.com. Plus, you're going to get a bonus discount just for listening to 1620 The Zone. Simply enter the promo code THEZONE at the checkout page at ticketsforless.com to get this special offer. That code again is The Zone, all in one word, for special savings at ticketsforless.com.
It's time to wake up your taste buds. Introducing my new Fiesta Line Chicken Pizza. Spicy taco sauce, generous amounts of chicken, green peppers, onions, jalapenos, mounds of cheddar and mozzarella cheese, and finished with a tangy lime sprinkle. Add your favorite one-topping pizza and my sweet cinnamon monkey bread. Fiesta Feast. Now that's a fiesta for your mouth. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see. Depression won't show up on an eye chart, and you won't find PTSD by looking at a thermometer. Sorting out a mental health concern takes professional diagnosis and treatment. Anxiety won't just go away under a bandage. If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, call 1-800-662-HELP for free and confidential information and treatment referral. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support.
I'm getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
So am I, because I'm at risk for pneumococcal pneumonia.
I'm asking about Prevnar 20 because there's a chance pneumococcal pneumonia could put me in the hospital. Age 65 or older, you may be at increased risk for pneumococcal pneumonia. Ask your doctor or pharmacist about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20, pneumococcal 20-valent conjugate vaccine, a Pfizer vaccine that can help protect against pneumococcal pneumonia in just one dose. Prevnar 20 is approved for adults to help prevent infections from 20 strains of the bacteria that cause pneumococcal pneumonia. Continued approval may depend on a supportive study. Don't get Prevnar 20 if you've had a severe allergic reaction to the vaccine or its ingredients. Adults with weakened immune systems may have a lower response to the vaccine. The most commonly reported side effect was pain at the injection site. For additional common side effects and full prescribing information, please call 1-855-213-2138 or visit Prevnar20.com.
I want to be able to keep my plans.
So I'm asking my doctor about getting vaccinated with Prevnar 20.
And now we've reached the point in the show where Josh Odson reads the peculiar, the bizarre, the comical, the odd news with Odd Son. Odd news, Odd Son. See what we did there? The odd news with Oddson.
I got a little something to throw at you. So, from Diana Rossini of ESPN.
Hi, Diana.
So the NFL draft is this week. People forget. They will have a draft dress rehearsal tomorrow. And the NFL, for that, they'll send out a script. And with the script, they will send out mock picks for the draft. And what they're doing is they'll have they just put a person in there. But it is a real person that could potentially get drafted.
Oh, okay.
And so they have, for the number one pick, it's a guy whose last name starts with an A. For number two, it's B, C, all the way down the list. And for the 20th pick in the draft, I don't know how many guys in the draft pool this year have a last name that start with V, but we do know one of them. Travis Vokalek. That's right. Travis Vokalek, first round pick in the dress rehearsal mock draft. So congratulations to him.
Wow, that's amazing. 20th pick, huh?
20th pick. Is V the 20th? No, V is not the 20th letter in the alphabet.
Seattle Seahawks select.
GHIJKLMNOP. No Q. So they went straight to R.
22 is
S,
V.
T, and there's no U. So there's no Q and there's no U. But
Sad.
There was a V, and it's Travis Vokalek. Congratulations, 20th overall to the Seahawks. You can hang out with Noah Fant.
Oh, there you go.
All right, Josh. By the way, I got some emails that I want to get to here in the 1 o'clock hour. Your guys' noon hour. Sorry, skipping ahead. On the spring game. We'll get to those. Josh has the odd news first.
I do. We begin with ESPN. You're familiar?
Oh, yeah, they're laying off everybody.
Well, this isn't about a layoff. This is about I guess, disgruntled current employee.
Really?
Steve Levy.
What is he disgruntled about?
Oh, well, let me tell you.
He's got no room to be disgruntled.
Well,
Get gruntled.
Generally speaking, it is rarely a bad thing to have a surprise discount applied to your bill at a restaurant. But on Saturday morning, Steve Levy found out the hard way that surprise discounts don't always leave you feeling good. On Saturday morning, Levy shared a photograph of a receipt from what appears to be a breakfast order at McDonald's.
They gave him a senior discount.
They did give him a senior discount. Also, his order was 2 egg and cheese biscuits, 2 orange juices, and a coffee. But one item on the receipt gave him a 5% discount for being a senior.
Is that really the senior discount?
That's just 5%. Right?
5% of like what, $8 or something, whatever you're paying for breakfast at McDonald's?
Yeah, it doesn't
really
feel
amount to
enough.
much.
Yeah, no. But he tweeted out, quote, "Good morning to me. What the hell?" Levy.
Shut up, Steve Levy.
Currently,
I irrationally hate Steve Levy. I don't know why.
Well, I think
I do know
he
why,
was a
actually.
good broadcaster for a while. And
He
then,
was.
And then everyone else upped their game and he didn't.
He was
and-
fine as a Sports Center host.
Yes.
And then
that's
they
his wheelhouse.
decided to make him do play-by-play for stuff to eventually the point where he got elevated to being the voice of Monday Night Football. Monday Night Football, one of ESPN's most significant properties. Sorry, Steve. I apologize.
He's 58 years old.
Yeah, he's got like white hair though.
He does, absolutely.
I don't know. I could see it.
You can see it?
I could see it. What is it? 65?
Yeah, most places
not
it's
that
65.
far off.
No.
It's not that far off. There's nothing to be offended about. I don't think for Steve. But congrats on that 5% discount.
We moved to South Carolina.
Everybody else is just getting laid off today.
Yeah.
He's mad about his 5% discount.
I'm mad that I saved 5%. South Carolina man who still shares a home with his former wife was arrested. This would be Friday, after he cocked a firearm and tried to ruin the mood as his ex and her boyfriend were engaging in amorous activities in a nearby bedroom.
So the crime here is,
I believe it is
ruining the mood.
No, I believe the crime would be like intimidation with a weapon here.
Right.
As alleged in an incident, Alan Riggs began banging on the walls of a Myrtle Beach duplex upon hearing Jolynn and her boyfriend going at it in an upstairs bedroom.
Jolynn.
Both
Classic South Carolina name.
Right. Both 24 years young. They are ex-spouses for approximately 2 years and live together. Now, that's, I understand certain situations, you got to do what you got to do, but get out if you can. In addition to hearing Riggs banging on the walls, the victim and her boyfriend then heard the racking of a firearm, according to investigators. That's when she went downstairs, where, yes, Alan had a gun in his hand. When questioned by the police department, Alan Riggs reportedly said that he became upset when he heard the couple having sex and banged on the wall, and that didn't work.
Yeah, man. That's why you don't go.
Yeah.
Just don't go over there.
Gotta have a sock on the door. Like, oh, okay, I guess I gotta circle the block.
So you don't want to see that.
No,
you know that you're gonna go over there and you're gonna see or hear something that you don't want to see or hear. You just gotta stay away. You gotta forget about it. You gotta let it go.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Alan. Might be hard for you to hear.
And finally, electric bikes, as many have discovered in recent years, highly convenient mode of transportation.
That's right.
They're cheaper than electric vehicles. It's faster than walking. It's less physically arduous than a regular bike. Now it seems like e-bikes have caught on in a somewhat surprising place. Amish communities.
That is surprising. Consider, don't you have to have like a phone?
I don't know about the requirements, but
but like to get on the bike and activate the bike.
Yeah,
you have to have the app. Right?
I think so. Although it is commonly
I don't know what the Amish are doing.
Believed that Amish communities eschew any type of technology that isn't several centuries old. This is a misconception.
Oh, my bad. I apologize.
Yeah. In reality, there is no central Amish governing authority, and each individual community is allowed to make its own decisions about what type of technology it makes use of.
The honor system.
Yes. The official tourism site for Lancaster, Pennsylvania, home of numerous Amish communities, explains this nuance best. When a new technology comes along, its effect on the church and community is examined. The technology should not be an intrusion into the home, but rather serve the social purposes and goals of the group. With that in mind, the Amish often repurpose the technology to align with their community beliefs. In the case of e-bikes, several churches have now decided that the benefits outweigh the costs. It's a lot
It's good to see the Amish adapt.
Yeah.
If the Amish can adapt, I think we all can.
Right? It's a lot quicker to jump on your bike and go into town than it is to bring your horse into the barn, harness the buggy, and go. David Mullet, a member of the Old Order Amish Church and owner of an e-bike shop in Ohio, told a local blog, generally speaking, Amish communities most likely to avoid new tech if they believe it will make them too reliant on the outside world. This has also led some of them to make use of electricity derived from solar panels, which they can own and maintain. Yeah.
I would rather have the scooter, personally.
Yeah, but then, you don't want the Amish community littered with scooters everywhere.
They're littered with bikes, it sounds like.
Yeah.
More cumbersome than scooters.
It is true.
Just watching ESPN's top 10 plays. Remember ESPN's top 10 plays?
I do, yeah.
And when it was important to be on them? Well, it is again today. Because did you see the catch that Creighton's Jack Grace made yesterday?
No.
Where he reached, full extension with the arm over the wall. And, as it goes up the right field line at the chuck, the wall sort of goes up and up and up and up. He was, probably a few steps into that. So he was a little bit higher for him. So he kind of reached over, full reach into the stands,
Okay.
First row, great catch. It was number 9 on ESPN's top 10 plays today. Congratulations to Creighton's Jack Grace. And the Blue Jays, who swept St. John's over the weekend.
Interesting. Winning series down the stretch.
Same could not be said for the Nebraska Cornhuskers.
Interesting.
The Mavs also swept this week.
Oh, interesting.
They played Lindenwood.
Mavs got a big one with the Big Red.
That's right. Looking for a season sweep.
Sweep
at Tal tomorrow.
Yeah. Pack the towel.
Well, Nebraska's going to want to win that game.
Yeah. I understand. Oh, midweek doesn't mean anything. Yeah, go ahead and win it.
It feels like it might mean a little something this time around. Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That is the odd news. Got some emails from you guys and some more thoughts from spring game. We'll also jump around to some other things. We could talk about Herbie, get a real analysis for Herb.
Removable corn cob.
I believe so. I didn't try it, but I think he had it.
Shocking.
When I saw him, he had it in his back pocket, and then the other times he had it in his side pocket, so it was hanging out. Removable corn. All that and plenty more to come. Also, Sam McKewon will join us at 1 on 1620 The Zone.
For the Jays, the Huskers, and even you Jayskers, we are 1620 The Zone.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America N.A. Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America N.A.
Howdy, folks. Greg Wagner joining you from the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission. Time now for another Nebraska Outdoor Update. Zzz, blip. Did you know there's some fun open water fishing to be had this time of year? There is. In our cold water, northern and western Nebraska trout streams, wonderful spring-fed waters, support mainly rainbow and brown trout, and you could even work on your Trout Slam Challenge in those. Get more details at outdoornebraska.org. That's outdoornebraska.org. Turning to the state parks, there's nature to experience. The playgrounds, campgrounds, and trails are all open. And be sure to check out the naturalist programs at state parks as well. For spring wild turkey hunting this year here in Nebraska, hunters, take note, there are some major changes because of lower bird numbers. See us at the Game and Parks Commission for more information. That'll wrap it up for now. I'm Greg Wagner with the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission.
People do some pretty cool things in their 40s and 50s. Why should saving for retirement be any different? I mean, they go back to college, learn new instruments, start skateboarding. Whoa! Okay, maybe that one's not for everybody, but saving for retirement is. With aceyourretirement.org, you can get on track with your retirement savings no matter your age. Just have a 3-minute chat with Avo, the friendly digital retirement coach from AARP. You'll get personalized recommendations based on your input that are easy to understand and work with your lifestyle. It's quick, easy, and free. Plus, it's sponsored by AARP, so you know they got your back.
Woohoo! Snarly move, Dad.
Thanks, sweetie. So wherever you are in your retirement savings journey, head to aceyourretirement.org and start chatting with Avo today. That's aceyourretirement.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas? ¿Cómo te llamas? ¿De dónde eres? ¿De dónde eres?
Babbel's interactive lessons are created by real language teachers and voiced by real native speakers using a modern conversation-based method. So in no time, you can start speaking confidently about real-life topics in another language.
Nosotras vamos a México en 2 días y ahora hablamos español.
Gracias, Babbel.
Sí, muchas gracias.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZN Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
You know, it's funny. All the bad baseball teams are good now. The Pirates are good. The Orioles are good. What do we got to do? What do I got to do? The Rays sucked for a long time, and now they're just consistently the best team in baseball.
Yeah.
They haven't lost a game at home. Why? Just, why? Why can't I have a little bit?
Your time's coming.
Well, I used to think it's starting to transition again.
Rangers are in first place. Diamondbacks are in first place.
What's going on? I used to think, you know what? I will trade that great 2 months of my life in October of 2014 and October of 2015. I will trade it for 30 more years of being horrible. It's been almost 10 years now, and I'm starting to get impatient again. It's coming. You better re-sign Bobby Witt Jr. or I'm gonna. That could be the only good part of that comes out of this. Actually, I shouldn't say that because they're. It's not even May yet. But they're not gonna make the playoffs. Just re-sign Bobby Witt Jr. Throw a little bone to all the fans. That'd be great. And I would appreciate.
Would you go where Bobby goes?
No. I'm not following Bobby if he leaves. I'm just saying sign him, take his first 3 years of free agency out of play, and win a World Series at some point in the next 8 years.
The old 8-year plan, huh?
Be very helpful. Yes. I'm on an 8-year plan, which starts now. They've already been bad for the last 7. All right, thoughts from you guys on the Equitable Bank inbox. We get a longer one from Zach. I
love it.
I'll just read it.
Okay. Yeah, it's Zach's thought. It's Jeff's thought.
This is for you guys. No, this one's Zach.
Oh, okay.
Equitable Bank inbox. My initial thoughts on the spring game: improve physically, tackling fundamentals look improved. Multiple hats to the ball. Love when people say hats to the ball.
Yeah.
Offense would have looked much more crisp on the second team if Casey Thompson would have been available. Across the board, I felt like Nebraska's first string looked pretty good. Depth is an issue. Avoiding significant injuries in the season can make a difference in this team's wins and losses. I'll stop there. I'll interject a few times in this. They had a bunch of guys out. I mean, like there was no Isaiah Garcia Castaneda, Henrich and Reimer, and obviously Casey Thompson. Like if you have those guys, I mean, just those guys right there, and there were a few more too. Fedoni was on a pitch count. I need to talk about the tight end thing later because maybe we need to have a conversation about Eric Gilbert. That could be my one big spring game overreaction. It's like this Eric Gilbert guy, I don't know. But anyway, like there was a handful of guys who are going to be playing for Nebraska on Saturdays. Rule said it after the game because we had a lot of guys sitting out who played a lot of football last year. There was also a lot of guys who played a lot of football over the last couple of years who aren't going to be much of a factor for Nebraska football. So there's that piece of it too. But I don't know if I would be too concerned about the depth at this moment, although it's usually a concern anyway. Sims looks solid at quarterback, both running and passing. With him as number 1 and Casey number 2, I think Nebraska will have a solid of a QB 2 deep as there is in the Big Ten West, maybe even the Big Ten. Not sure many teams with the backup quarterback that has 20 plus Power 5 starts. No, I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure that there's anybody that can match the fact that Nebraska has 4 quarterbacks on their roster who have started Power 5 games.
Yeah.
Now, will they have 4 in the fall? I don't know, but they currently do at the moment, which is pretty shocking. Some offensive line thoughts. I think offensive line looked better than they did last season. But after the top 5 or 6 offensive linemen, there's a big drop off. That much is true.
Mm-hmm.
The development of this incoming freshman class that Rule signed will be vital. I thought D-line looks solid. Then some thoughts on Principal and Lenhart. This is exhaustive. This is good stuff from Zach.
Yeah, this really is.
Elijah Judy looked pretty solid. I think he'll be a contributor. Running backs look solid and deep. I thought there was 6 running backs that are capable of starting in the Big Ten. I'm not so sure about that deep. He says, I still think Grant is the number 1, but Irvin and Allen could both end up as starters in the fall. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them transfers. I guess we could talk about that for a second. Grant got more run. I actually don't even know the stats, but this is all based off of what I saw. Grant got more run in the game. And, Rule talked about it in the clip that we played earlier. Some of that was like they were trying to get that team some more snaps and everything like that, especially with the second group. I still think Irvin is the guy right now based off of what we've heard throughout the spring. And I thought he looked a hair better on Saturday too. But I know there was a lot of people who came out of there and said, oh yeah, I think Grant is probably the guy. I'm not totally on that same page. And then the Allen question is really interesting because he was on the other team and running with some later guys. And he'd been hurt. I think he had a concussion for the back half of spring practice or for a portion of it. So it's hard to know exactly where he stands. And maybe they're still working him back slowly from that. But Allen will be an interesting guy to watch. I don't know. I think they have a few guys who they feel like they can give carries to. And if AJ Allen's, not in the mix totally, then, maybe he finds somewhere else. But I don't know. I don't know what that looks like for him. And I definitely don't have the full picture. So don't take that, take that for what it is, I suppose. John emails in.
Hi, John.
Spring game. I wasn't able to watch the spring game, and I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. But I have a question. Did Bryce Benhart move out of his stance on every single play? Not asking if he covered his responsibility, just asking if he moved on every snap. Yes. He didn't have one of those things where it was like on the extra point last year, where he just froze for a second. So that was good to see.
I genuinely love that being a concern of someone's on Monday morning.
Did he move? Yeah. And there will be some growth and development from that offensive line unit. Corcoran got hurt but came back. On the injury front, Betts looked like Xavier Betts got shaken up pretty decent there. Looked like a concussion, maybe just a little wobbly. So
don't want to speculate.
Hopefully that's nothing that continues on through for a longer period of time. Sean emails into the show.
Hi, Sean.
Equitable Bank inbox. How about the Gophers moving their spring game indoors? Wussies.
What's that?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, thank you. That was bugging me
Go ahead,
all
Josh.
weekend.
You fire
Just
away.
the cowardice to,
well, it's a little chilly. It's not ideal. We need to go inside and play.
Maybe they have an elite indoor practice facility.
I don't think they play the games inside.
Well, you could.
I don't think you can.
Why not?
What, are they going to play them all at US Bank?
Yeah, sure. Why not? Or build a dome.
They specifically did not build a dome.
They didn't. That's true.
They built the vault not too long ago.
Oh, how far we've come from PJ Fleck after the Nebraska game in 2019, or before the Nebraska game in 2019, saying we love our weather. After Scott Frost, I think it was Troy Walters actually in a comment about the weather. We're not worried about the weather, all this stuff, and PJ goes, "We love our weather. We love our weather." Well, if you really loved your weather, PJ, maybe you'd practice outside.
Soft. Kobe Bryant soft dot gif.
I haven't got the chance to watch it from BTN yet. So did they have to join the Nebraska game in progress, or what happened? Because people were complaining all over my Twitter about how Minnesota's spring game was running long.
I DVR'd the Nebraska spring game and it was
Okay.
It was fine.
I don't know how that went on BTN. And then so Nebraska was slotted from 1 to 3. Like Nebraska played until about 3:30. So was that last part just not? I don't know what happened.
I'm going to be honest.
I don't know what happened on TV.
I'm going to be completely honest with you here, Connor. I didn't finish it.
That's okay.
It was.
You don't have.
It was 14-0 at halftime, and I was like, okay, there's only 2 scores that I'm missing out on. Okay, I'll read a couple recaps.
We should talk about this for a second. You should, even if you are a diehard fan, you could say you love your team. You are under no obligation to care about or watch the spring game.
I was bored by halftime, and I said, you know
That's
what?
okay.
My time is too valuable.
That's okay.
I've seen enough.
You can have that and still say, I am GBR #1 diehard till I die. And you don't have to feel really connected to the spring game if you don't want to. Sometimes it's a tradition for people to go. I like that it's become big at Nebraska. I like that it's become a recruiting event. You are under no obligation. You don't lose your fan card.
Thank you, Connor.
So congratulations to you.
So the statement from the crux of this issue here comes from Minnesota moving their spring game indoors. 4-paragraph release from Minnesota.
They put out a release?
Yeah. Because, fans were going to attend this game, and now with it being moved indoors, no fans were allowed to attend. The charity-related drives.
This is like a Morgan Wallen situation?
Kind of, yeah. The drives were, without all the racism. People forget Morgan Wallen, huge racist, still very successful. The annual ore collection and a diaper drive were also canceled.
What? They canceled charity?
Yes, they've canceled charity, but it will be back at a fan-friendly event during training camp, according to PJ Fleck.
Oh, sure.
Also,
what happens when the weather's bad in August?
Yeah. Too hot to have people come outside. It is unfortunate that we need to move the game indoors, said Fleck, but without a usable scoreboard at the stadium because of construction and the ongoing threat of rain in the Midwest, we wanted to do what was best for our fans and student athletes.
It's best for you to not show up.
Yeah.
We're doing this for your protection.
It's raining. We don't want you to come out in the rain.
Come on, PJ.
Sad.
Somebody doesn't care about charity.
TV broadcast crew, you had timing questions on BTN. Nick tweets in, TV broadcast crew cut over right as the tunnel walk started.
Oh, that's good. So you did not see on TV the Herbie tunnel walk then?
No, that is correct. Yeah, I had to find that on social.
Did they cut away to Herbie sitting on the back of the tractor with a T-shirt Gatling gun?
I believe they showed all that in transitions to commercial.
Just wanted to make sure
coming
that was
back from
Just wanted to make sure that was seen at some point. So that's good. Joel has a take.
Hi, Joel.
My biggest lukewarm take.
Ooh.
Billy Kemp and Marcus Washington are good, Joel says.
I like that take.
It's
Good
definitely
take.
lukewarm. If IGC and Betts can step up to speed in the fall, the wide receiver core could be solid. I don't disagree with any of that. We could come back with this coming up next year. I also want to talk about Colorado spring game too.
Might be our first Coach Prime update, Connor.
Oh yes. All right, we'll just plan on doing that next, so you can play your Coach Prime update.
Okay.
Tight ends. So keep this in mind. Fidoni's on a pitch count. Hopefully he's unleashed in the fall. And the optimism around the tight end spot has been surrounding Fidoni, who we haven't seen really much or any of. He did have a catch on Saturday. And Gilbert, who in the 2 times Nebraska threw the football to him, I don't know what was going on. He jumped on a pass that was straight to his chest.
There were a couple where I was like,
It was
oh,
weird.
how that was thrown right to you. How did you not catch that?
It's very weird. He's huge. I mean, he's a large person. So I don't know. Don't want to overreact too much. I don't know what's going on at the tight end spot. It's a question mark for me at this point. And Borkircher was the guy that actually made the biggest play of the day for a tight end on the pass from Sims over the middle. All right. Let's see what's going on over in Colorado, who since their spring game on Saturday has lost a few people to the transfer portal and a couple commits as well.
It's going great over there.
All right. And Josh will get to play his brand new Coach Prime Update Open. Yeah. Next on 1620 The Zone.
I'm a fabulous driver.
The Connor Happer Show
I'm one of the best friends you could ever have in your life.
on 1620 The Zone.
I hate you.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
Did you know that radon is the #1 cause of lung cancer for non-smokers and that our region has some of the highest levels in the country? Radon Defense Midwest can test and fix your home. Visit radonradio.com for an exclusive offer for 1620 The Zone listeners. That's radonradio.com.
It's spring. Now is the best time to shop at Lenaha for all things garden or landscape. Our garden center is filled with the largest selection of homegrown plants, flowers, trees, and more. The area's best mulch and soil available for delivery and pickup. Rooted in quality, unmatched value. Lenaha Nurseries, 192nd and Center.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Email us on the Equitable Bank inbox with whatever is on your mind. Zone Inbox is brought to you by Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. You can get me, Gary, at 1620thezone.com. We want to hear from you on the Equitable Bank Zone Inbox.
When you're an innovative business, every blinking cursor, every blank page is an opportunity. What will you do with it? Will you make something better or create something new? Our Dell Technologies advisors provide you with tools and expertise to do incredible things. Because we believe there's an innovator in all of us. For advice on smart PCs powered by Intel V Pro that's built for business, call a Dell Technologies advisor at 877-ASK-DELL.
I know I need to pay attention to my health, but I just can't seem to find the time. Between rushing to work and taking care of the kids, there's not much time left over for me. So I decided to start small by eating more fruits and vegetables and being more active. And then I got the family to make some changes too. We started by keeping a bowl of fresh fruit on the counter, and I limit the amount of sweet snacks I keep in the house. I've also found some creative ways to add more vegetables to our meals. We're taking more walks, and on the weekends, we head down to the pool at the rec center. It doesn't happen every day, but it does happen. You don't have to change your entire life to be healthier. Just make some simple changes and include your family. You'll see how easy and fun it can be.
You can make a difference. Eat smart, play hard. And when you do, your kids will too. A challenge from USDA.
So, how are the kids?
Well, Emily made the honor roll.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, we're really proud of her. Tyler, on the other hand, though.
What's going on?
He's been moody lately, just feeling down and not like himself.
Oh, we've been there. Nick was struggling last spring. He was so anxious and stressed.
Really? What helped?
Well, he joined the soccer team. And ever since, he's been a lot happier. He has more energy, he's less stressed, and he's definitely in a better mood at home. It's made a huge difference.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad he's getting out of the house, he's getting some exercise, and he's off his phone for once. It's been good for his mental health.
Sounds like it's been good for your mental health, too.
Participating in Nebraska high school sports improves students' physical and mental health. Encourage your son or daughter to get involved. This message presented by the NSAA and the Nebraska State Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
See you. Let me do this again so we get a clean take. But we know what we want, and we're going to get it. I'm a head coach. We sold out. Good, bad, indifferent, whatever. Whatever angle you take, it helps.
You best be settling in now, partner, because it's time for another Coach Prime update.
Young folks got a saying now, I'm him.
On the Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone.
And my stones ain't yellow.
Hell yeah! Get out!
Very serious. This is the Yellowstone theme song. Are we going to get kicked off of YouTube for playing this?
No, if you play, I found out if you play words over it,
It doesn't know?
It doesn't. It
The
doesn't know.
algorithm?
It thinks it's an original
That's
track.
good. That's good.
Yeah.
That's how you trick the algorithm.
Mhm.
All right, we need to do that.
We can play music again.
Do you see that in the last season of Barry, there's that bit where she's trying to get her show to the equivalent of Netflix, basically, and it's like it's going really well and it's successful, and everybody really likes it in the first like 12 hours that it's out, and then they like bring her in and they say, "Oh yes, your show's being canceled. The algorithm didn't like it." This is what happens when we leave all of our decision making up to computers.
Mm-hmm.
They miss some things.
Absolutely.
All right. There's my old man rant of the day. Colorado football had their spring game over the weekend. And let me say this first. I thought, we'll start with the good. We'll start with the compliment. I thought that it was legitimately really cool to see that fan base invigorated. And to see people, I don't know if they care about Colorado football or they just wanted to see the show. Either way, I just thought it was cool to see Folsom Field like kind of full.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dead. Like all the pictures. I thought that part was very cool. And when you get an old college football power, look, I know we don't like Colorado, but this is how rivals sort of work, especially now that the rivalry is sort of estranged between Nebraska and Colorado, with the exception of obviously they're going to play this year and next. And then they played in 18-19, but like generally you could still want, maybe you don't want good things for them, but I'm a fan of cool college football things, cool college football environments. And with that being said, I was happy to see what I saw on Saturday in Boulder, Colorado. I was also happy to see it for a variety of other reasons. Number one, it was barely two-hand touch. I mean barely two-hand touch. You want to talk about the exact opposite from a spring game format and how they decided to approach the spring game in general between Nebraska and Colorado. It could not have been more polar opposite. Really, really great stuff. Barely two-hand touch. It was a show. Matt Rule specifically said before Nebraska's spring game, this is not a show. I do not want it to be a show. And Dion, I don't know if he said it before the game, but it was very clear it was a show. ESPN was there, whole bunch of Skycam, panoramic views. Like, look at how cool this is. Colorado, Chris Fowler's here. And Coach Prime's on the field, and he's wearing a cowboy hat, and we're giving him a microphone. And you could tell even he said it, was blown away by the fan participation that they had, which was cool. The game was a sham. They still look like tiny babies. And the only real player of note in that game, a man who caught a 98-yard touchdown pass, Montana Lamonius Craig.
Great name.
Who was one of their best receivers last year, entered the transfer portal.
Oh.
After the game, along with several others who have decided to enter the transfer portal following the Colorado spring game, like safety Tyron Taylor, wide receiver Chase Sowell, linebacker Shaquan Bowser, offensive lineman Jackson Anderson, and then Lamonius Craig. A few of those players being projected starters, projected in the sense that they were starters on last year's team. In all, 17 players have left Colorado for the transfer portal since the spring window opened up 9 days ago. It was funny to see Lamonius Craig be hyped up during the spring game, catch a 98-yard touchdown, catch 2 more balls, had 154 yards and a touchdown total, and then immediately enter the transfer portal afterwards. And then Shedeur Sanders decided that it was a good idea to hop on IG Live afterwards. If I was a if I was a football coach, here would be my first thing that I would do. I would walk into that locker room. I would get all the players in the auditorium where all the seats are, and I would say, "Everybody, sit down. Here's my rule: no IG Live, no TikTok Live, no lives." We have seen live streams of players when they're like celebrating things and when they're angry. They just said, "All right, I'm taking this. I'm going live." You're not allowed to do that anymore. I'm sorry. That's my first move as a head coach. Nothing good could come from it. So Shedeur Sanders decided that he was going to hop on IG Live, and he invited everybody to go to Montana Lamonius Craig's post and spam it.
Oh.
Basically troll him.
Don't like that.
So it all seems to be a very healthy, good, fun situation. We'll take a phone call here in a second. Jeff said on the text line,
"Hi, Jeff.
Watch the Colorado spring game a bit. They are legit tiny. Is it the stupid helmet pads they wear that make them look small?" Yes, that makes them look smaller than they are. I will completely admit this. But they're still small. They don't really look like a Power 5 football team. I don't know what to tell them. I'm just enjoying the show for me. This is what I'm all about right now. We'll take a phone call from Eric. Eric, what's up?
Hey, Connor. First time caller. Love the show, man.
Thank you.
First off, just absolutely how full of it watching what Deion Sanders says and how he contradicts himself constantly do you think he is? I mean, he just drives me insane. Personally, this guy has coached a little bit of high school football because his name was Deion Sanders. He had a stacked deck in the SWAC, whoop-de-flip-and-do, and he would never be at Colorado. But, Jesus and God sent him for racial inequality to the SWAC. But when the money came calling, well, he'd have to entertain offers, and now all of a sudden he's in Colorado. I mean, what makes us think that he's going to be a good coach? What experience does he have? What resume does he have? I don't get this at all. How is not everyone seeing through this? How do you think he's going to react when he starts to have controversy and failure?
I'm curious about the same thing. I think the thought is, like, I can see the thought. I don't love it. It's not how I would want to hire a coach, but I think the thought is you bring him in because he can attract other players. He did so at Jackson State. He can attract other players to come there. And the football part of it is on his assistant coaches. And I think that's the lesser spoken sort of plan of what they're going after. The football piece is on the assistant coaches. And it's up to him to sort of bring the players in. That's the idea in a nutshell.
The fact that he's willing to cut bait at any point in time on anyone. I mean, if you were a parent, would you honestly want to send your kid to play for Deion Sanders? Would you trust him even an inch? He's still the head man. I realize they got to call the X's and O's and teach the fundamentals and everything like that. But that culture there is going to get toxic in a hurry with some failure.
Yeah.
There's going to be no thumbs being pointed. It's going to be a lot of fingers.
That
When
is
has that man ever owned up to anything he's ever done in his life?
Eric,
when has he ever said, my bad?
yeah, you don't hear it very much. Well, thanks for the call, Eric. Appreciate it. I'm curious to see what happens, and I don't know. I don't know what will happen. I could see it. I could see a route to that. I could see a route to that becoming toxic in a hurry. That much is for sure, because he's painted out the picture of, hey, this is this is not about you guys. We don't have really any sort of reverence or feel for what has happened here before. I'm going to come in. I'm going to bring my mercenary football players, however many of them I can get. And I think that is the biggest misconception about what's happening at Colorado right now. I think they're going to get football players, but I don't think they're getting the caliber of football players that they think they're going to get, or that everybody else thinks they're going to get. I think that's the biggest misconception about what's happening right now. But that's the thought. We're going to bring in these football players. We're going to be really talented. And if it works, it works. I don't know if there's a plan if it doesn't work, So from that standpoint, it seems like it could be potentially a little bit messy. Mike is next. Hey, Mike.
Hey, thanks for taking my call. A couple of things. I watched very little of the Colorado game, but what I'm seeing out there in Colorado is what we saw 5 years ago when Frost came to Nebraska. And talking to the relatives that I have out there, they're not very optimistic. Second thing is in the spring game, I loved watching the defense because that was very proactive, and they played a lot faster. And obviously, it's against our own players, but they played a lot faster than I've seen them play in years. I think that defense is actually going to make our offensive line better. I might be wrong, but our offensive line is going to have to get smarter and quicker.
Yeah.
And obviously stronger too. The last thing, Gage Stinger. I haven't heard you guys talk about him. He's a redshirt freshman out of Millard South.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I've known
made some
him
plays.
since he was in. I've known him since he was in the 8th grade, and he was a player when he was in high school. And I think he's one to watch going into this season. Great kid, great family. I'm glad to see him kind of start to thrive under this system. But that's all I had to say. I didn't get to go to the game. I've already watched it twice.
Nice.
I go back to the Bill Jennings era, so I know bad and I know good. I like what Rule's done. We'll see what happens this fall. I'm guardedly optimistic. It depends on the opponents, but I like what I see.
It's a safe place to be, Mike.
Go.
Yeah, appreciate the call. Thanks. It's a safe place to be right now. Okay, so a couple things there on the last two things he said. Defensively, I think they know that they're in a situation where they don't have a whole bunch of explosive playmakers that they could just deploy, or maybe those explosive playmakers become really explosive in like 2 and 3 years, like Prince will. They could develop that over time. So right now, I think what you're going to try to do on defense is be a little bit exotic. Bring some different things from different places, havoc, and to Mike's point, that really can help an offensive line. They throw so much stuff at them. What's a thing that's been an issue over the last couple of years on the offensive line? I think communication is a word that I would use. Communication is going to be really important when you're in a situation where they're throwing a whole bunch of random stuff at you. So yes. And then Stanger, I feel like we mentioned him maybe in the guys 5 minutes. We didn't talk about him much. That's the exact type of guy that I could see, enjoying playing in this defense. It's a little bit, hey, go out there and make a play. He made a few on Saturday. I don't know what that means for him in terms of actual playing time. But it was cool to see him go out there and make a few plays, including the interception right at the end. What's up with Nebraska spring games, by the way, ending in interceptions? I feel like all the ones that I can remember, just there's an interception at the tail end. That's probably not a great sign. I don't know. One more phone call here in this segment before we get to Josh's top 5. We have Jay on the line. Jay, what's up?
How you doing, fellas? Can you hear me good?
Good. Yeah, I can hear you.
All right. I got two things. I think it was the caller before the last caller that kind of railroaded Deion.
Yeah.
Deion Sanders.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. A little tough.
So I'll say this. I think the guy just kind of showed how old he is a little bit. Because those of us that remember Deion as a player, we understand in totality that he is the enigma. He's the exception and not the rule. Most guys that talk big don't play big and perform big every single time. Deion was the exception, that he talked big, looked big, and played big. He's not notarized as being one of the greatest NFL, or to that matter, one of the greatest athletes of a generation for nothing. And his, winning demeanor can help any program. Obviously, I'm a diehard Husker fan, and I want him to win every game except the one he plays against the Big Red. But
sure.
Outside of that, you just kind of show a little bit of your stance and how you view the world if you can't see what he got going, or if you can't see how the trajectory of what he's doing to mainstream football and joining Colorado and his presence, how it impacted HBCUs. So you can see that plainly obvious, and you'll see probably more blatant for us will be how the Midwest is thought of when it comes to football over the next 3 to 5 years. If we pick the right guy with Coach Rule, then we'll be on an upward trajectory. So then maybe we can appreciate what's happening at Colorado. You feel me? Now, if we start to lose and Deion starts to win, then this whole thought process is, destroyed. You feel me? But I love what Rule did. Let me transition for like 2 seconds. Love what Rule is doing, I should say. You can see the evidence of what he got going down there with something as simple as this. I don't think I've heard anybody talk about it, but were there refs Saturday?
Yeah, there were. The head official was Matt Rule, but there were officials in stripes on the field. Yes.
Okay, so I didn't see many penalties, man. Feel me?
No, and there was some of them. Rule talked about it a little bit after the game. He was like, "Yeah, there were some where like the refs came up to me and they were like, yeah, well, if we would have reviewed that, it would have went this way." So I think there were
stupid stuff like holding, offside,
yes.
like what I'm saying, those type of dumb penalties.
Yep. No, I agree.
See that.
Yeah, that was notable.
I see a disciplined football team. I see a football team where it looked like guys are just trying to do what they're supposed to do. And based upon, to compare what we've seen in the last several years, that's night and day. So you can put a feather in Coach Rule's cap for one thing. The team is more disciplined. And they play more sound assignment football. I didn't see a lot of goofy missed tackles. I saw guys flying I didn't see a lot of one-on-one on the defensive side of the ball. I saw a lot of people flying to the ball. I saw backs and numbers flying to the ball after every single play. I saw offensive and defensive linemen that didn't look confused. I didn't see a lot of flash at wide receiver, but I think that's coming. I do think the tight end with the style of offense that they run makes perfect sense, because I can see how if he would get more, I guess, open the playbook a little bit more, which I think he probably didn't do for spring, you could see how that RPO game, including the fullback, could destroy your defense.
Mm-hmm.
And how it could look like a big, like it can give you the idea like we're going to play big smash mouth football by the formation, but then we bust you upside the head with misdirection or like an RPO look. And I saw Jeff Sims do something that we haven't seen consistently. I saw him after the mesh take 2 or 3 step drop and get rid of the ball on time. Hit receivers in motion to where they could choose what they were going to do after the catch. And I'm done. Shout out to Deion in Colorado, and go Big Red.
Good stuff, Jay. I appreciate that call. Okay, I want to go back to what he said about Deion. So there is this, I thought he hit it pretty well. There is this thing with him where he is an enigma, and that the thought process off of that is, I believe, and people believe, the thought is he can do anything because of all of the times when he would, when he played professional football and when he played professional baseball. It's like, okay, really, can he actually do this? And the answer has been at every single turn, yes. He's been successful at whatever he's done basically throughout his life. When everybody said, yeah, I mean, you really think you're going to do this? Okay, you're going to become a football coach now. Is this really going to work? And so there's this thought in the back of the college football world's head where the conventional wisdom is, what wins? Coaches with experience and coaches with resumes, and you follow this, this, and this, and this, this, and this, and they check off all these boxes, the conventional way of hiring football coaches. But we've watched football, and we watched football when Deion Sanders was playing, and we watched Deion Sanders' whole life now happen, and he's been good in everything he's done. So it's very confusing. It's disorienting, right? And it's going to be those two things going up against each other and how it's going to unfold at Colorado. I've said this before. I don't know how it's going to work at Colorado simply because I don't think he's going to be able to get the players that he thinks he's going to be able to get. And it'll come down to that. It won't be because of who he is and the sideshow and all of that stuff. Although it is fun to look at and make fun of sometimes. It'll ultimately not work if it's not going to work because he won't get the players that they think they're going to get. But that is the crux of why this is such an interesting project. And you're going up against Nebraska in the first week of September, and they have built their programs in different ways, conventional thinking versus not so conventional thinking. Doesn't mean one has to be better than the other. But yeah, it was a good point brought up by Jay. That's for sure. All right, we're way behind now. Josh's top 5 is next on 1620 The Zone.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley.
Do they ever make a public appearance together?
You have your picture taken with them?
Like, do they ever show up at the dealership here in Omaha?
We'd have to ask an AE about that. Meet the twins and buy a new car.
Meet the twins. Meet the twins. We're gonna win, twins. We're gonna score. We're gonna win, twins. What's up, baseball sore? Knock out a home run. Shout a hip hooray. Cheer for the Minnesota Twins today.
Jesus, Jimmy, see what you did?
Oh, I knew this song just because I had a lot of friends from Minnesota in college, and they knew it by heart.
You knew what you were doing with, again, Sharpie, who was stuck. He's frozen in time.
Mornings with Sharp and Handley. Weekdays 6 to 10 on 1620 The Zone. Your Omaha area forecast from Canoyer Garden Center and KETV Newswatch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly cloudy skies for your Monday afternoon with a few peaks of sunshine out there. Staying mild with a high in Omaha of 64 with light southeasterly winds up to 10 miles an hour. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy skies, mild again with a low near 42 and light winds up to 10 miles an hour. I'm meteorologist Kaylin Harvey with KETV Newswatch 7.
The Connor Happer Show returns in minutes on 1620 The Zone.
Did you know the Salvation Army has thrift stores conveniently located around the Omaha metro area, and each one has bargains you won't find anywhere else? Come in today for deals on clothing, accessories, furniture, kitchenware, and more. Stop by, get a great deal, and make a big difference for people in need. For a list of store locations, just go to salarmyomaha.org. That's salarmyomaha.org. Thanks for your support.
If you're hiring, it can feel like you're trying to find a needle in a haystack. You can hope the right person comes along, or you can just use ZipRecruiter. And now you can try it for free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. In fact, ZipRecruiter has helped a lot of business owners find their needle in a haystack, like Marco, president of operations at Telly Tires and Auto Centers. Because Telly Tires has grown a lot in the last few years, Marco needed to hire everyone from a receptionist to a store manager to a head mechanic.
ZipRecruiter helps me find all the right people, even the most difficult jobs to fill. ZipRecruiter helps me keep my business running.
Take it from Marco and millions of other businesses who've used ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter can help you find the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ZipRecruiter.com/radio. That's ZipRecruiter.com/RADIO. ZipRecruiter.com/radio. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire.
Ever walk through a door and see all the trucks? Yeah.
It's kind of like that at Gretna Auto Outlet. Half-ton trucks, 3/4-ton trucks, dualies, gas or diesel. Gretna Auto Outlet will be happy to show it to you. They don't call it truck heaven for nothing, you know. Stop in the climate-controlled comfort of the indoor showroom or online with the virtual showroom at GretnaAuto.com. Gretna Auto Outlet, open Sundays too, just north of Nebraska Crossing on Highway 6 in Gretna.
Equitable Bank. We take banking personally. EquitableOnline.com.
Rick says on the text line,
hi, Rick,
on my statement of, I just don't think he's going to get the players that he's going to require to win at that level. Dion, that is. Coach Brown. Rick says he got the number one high school player to come to Jackson State. Well, it says Jackson Southern /State /whatever. It was.
Oh, come on.
Whatever it was. Somebody's going to be wrong, and this will be funny to go back and listen to these recordings. I'll make it very clear. I mean, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't think they're going to get the type of players that they need to consistently win in a Power 5 conference. I mean, that's all. I mean, I think they'll definitely get a couple top recruits every year. I just think you need to have a lot to win at their level consistently, right? Like you need to have a roster full of them because
to beat USC and Utah.
Right. I mean, that's ultimately what we're talking about,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, that's where I'm at. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. It's very possible because Dion's proven a lot of people wrong at every turn in his life. All right, Josh's top 5 before we get to Sam McKewon here. If you're calling, all right, they dropped off. Don't know if we might have a couple minutes at the 1 o'clock hour after Sam to get to a couple more thoughts from you guys, but it's Josh time first.
Ooh, let me cook. Top 5 winners of the weekend.
God, come on. Take forever.
Number 5.
Number 5, the Philadelphia 76ers. They swept the Brooklyn Nets. They were the only team to sweep their first-round series. They're the only team on a pseudo vacation right now in the NBA.
That's right. I was telling Josh this morning, if I could have, and I could have, if what I should have done is bet that the Nuggets and the Timberwolves were going to be a gentleman's sweep because that had gentleman's sweep written all over it from the very beginning. And I was not surprised that the Timberwolves won last night. It was almost really hilarious to watch them almost blow it twice, both in regulation, blowing that 12-point lead and then going to overtime and then almost blowing it again in overtime. It could have been really top-notch comedy last night, but it wasn't.
I tweeted out the clip from halftime of Inside the NBA, and Ernie is saying, wow, this Nuggets-Wolves game is really boring.
Yep. I was watching the NHL game. Nice. It was.
That's a Shaq and Chuck thing. Ernie doesn't normally get in on the bashing of the content that is currently happening.
Not much to watch.
No.
Number 4.
Number 4, Wrexham FC.
Dude, I've been talking about this all weekend. I got to watch this show now. That looks so cool.
I don't care if the whole league got in cahoots and said, it's great for business. If that team with a documentary crew filming them wins this league, I don't care. This is an amazing story. Wrexham won the National League title, not the National League of Major League Baseball, but that's what they call their soccer league that they're in. 3-1 win over Boreham Wood. I don't know if I'm saying that right. I apologize. They are now promoted to League 2. This is the soccer team or football team owned by Ryan Reynolds, and It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia's McElhaney.
Yep.
And Paul Rudd was filming the celebratory shenanigans.
Oh, he was?
He was there. He was drinking beers with everybody. He was filming the owners. Ryan Reynolds accepted the trophy with a wet crotch.
Yeah. I thought the interview they did after the game was fantastic. I saw that go around was it Saturday, I guess?
Yeah, I think so.
And I'm like, this is awesome. I would love to watch this show. And all the people were commenting like season 2 of Welcome to Wrexham is going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Is that an Apple TV show?
It is on FX, which means it is re-aired on Hulu.
Hulu. Okay, so I have it.
So you can watch
Dang.
season
So
1.
many damn
or,
subscriptions.
Yeah. Too many subscriptions.
I'm into it though.
3. Combination of 3 and 5.
Number 3.
Connor, I asked earlier how to say this guy's name, and I already forgot. Scott Gutschewski?
Gutschewski.
Okay, I'm sorry.
See, I am
this
not.
Guy's whole family's probably listening.
I am not one of the Omaha media elites that seemingly has a personal relationship with this guy.
The 46-year-old.
Congratulations to Gooch.
Ralston native drained a 40-foot putt in the first hole playoff to win the Corn Ferry event this weekend. His first win in 15 years.
Yeah, it is
great
cool.
Story of perseverance from a local guy.
From a guy named Gooch.
Gooch. That's what we're calling him because we forgot how to say his name.
That's his nickname, though. That's what he prefers to be called, apparently.
Everybody seems to know this guy.
Everybody seems to know.
I had never heard of him until yesterday.
Yep.
That's on me.
Here comes 2.
Number 2.
Number 2, the Pittsburgh Pirates. What?
That's right.
That's right. The Pittsburgh Pirates are good. 16-7 overall. They've won 7 in a row.
Yeah.
Over that span, they have won by a combined score of 45-15.
I don't like it when good things happen to other bad teams. It makes me feel like good things could happen to me, but that's just false.
But then they don't. The Pirates have the 3rd best record in the Bigs. They played the Rockies and the Reds, I think, over the last 6 or 7 games. But
this is the thing. Like, I don't care if it's real or not.
Yeah.
Like, it's the same thing with the Orioles last year. The Orioles went, 500?
They were hovering right around 500.
About 500 last year. But guess what? They had a great summer watching their baseball team.
They did. They were asking, are we going to be buyers or sellers?
Yeah, acting like they were going to be in the playoffs for like 2 or 3 months. Like this was fun. It'll be this, hopefully, for them, it'll be the same thing with the Pirates this year. And they'll give their fans a nice, fun summer. Are they going to win the World Series? Hell no. But are they going to have a fun summer? Yes. Engaged. I would give anything for a fun summer.
Also, the Pirates called up 33-year-old infielder Drew Maggi. 13 years in the minors.
Yeah.
As we continue to award persistence.
Lifetime Achievement Awards.
On today's Top 5. Which leads us to the biggest winner of the weekend. Who will get the plaque as soon as we buy stamps that says they won the weekend most?
Make it so, number 1.
Number 1.
It will not be Matt Rule's hat.
Matt Rule.
But it will be someone adjacent to Matt Rule's hat. It's Frank Solich.
Oh, I thought it was going to be Herbie.
Jury's still out. Some people say he's scary.
He is. It's kind of scary.
Yeah, Frank Solich. That was nice over the weekend.
Frank Solich did win.
Mending that fence. Locker room named after him.
Yeah, I mean, that was, I didn't see that one coming. I hadn't heard about that.
We were asking, though, a couple weeks ago, like, hey, we need to start talking about what we're going to name this thing, right? Or no.
Name the building.
The building, yeah.
The building.
The locker room is named. The building is yet to be named, right?
Which I imagine the building will just be...
The donor?
Yeah.
The Larry the Cable Guy Athletics Center.
Yep. Whoever chipped in the most of the, $65 million they needed to build the brand new facility over there. It's going to be really cool, man. You could really see the shape of it now, just being over there. And we said goodbye to the old digs on Saturday. It's the last time you'll be in there in its current purpose.
Now, the real question the fans are asking, when will they stop conducting press conferences in front of the construction?
Yes, people are asking this. Guys, it's really okay. I get it. Jackhammers. There's jackhammers. It's going to be okay. Your whole stadium's under construction. It's a work day. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. They're going to be jackhammering some stuff. It's fine. Is it a pain in the butt? Yes. There's nowhere else to do it. I'm sorry.
It's the sound of progress.
Like you just, They can haul them all up to West Stadium, I guess, and put them on the 6th floor. But I'm not kidding. It's a long walk. It's a long time to get up there.
Oh, okay.
Just keep them. It's fine. The media is going to be fine. You're going to be fine listening to the jackhammers for a little bit longer. When they go into the new building, they're going to have a beautiful new media room, and it'll all be in one place with multiple backdrops and whatever they need.
Mm-hmm.
There won't be any concern about this any longer.
I imagine
everything will be fine.
In the Hawks Center, there's like acoustic issues and probably not enough plugs for the media.
They do this after practice. And so what'll happen after practice is a lot of people will stay around and they'll get extra work in and they'll kick and they'll hit bags and they'll play music and stuff. You can't do it on the field.
The music.
And yeah, it's just there's a lot going on. It would be the same thing as jackhammers, basically. The space in the lobby of the current practice facility is cramped. It's very small.
Yeah.
So they moved it over to the North Stadium where there's a big wide concourse. And yes, it is in close proximity to the hammering. Stop the hammering.
He was not fired today.
He would be next on the list.
He would. Lawrence O'Donnell.
Yeah.
Google it.
Stop the hammering. So yeah, it's okay. Everything's going to be fine. I don't know what they're going to do with the old weight room though. Do they just leave it as is and let other people work out in there? I'm not sure what's going to happen. It's a beautiful weight room. And by the way, not to go too crazy here, but just a couple of things. Emptying the notebook from Saturday. You know what I noticed walking in that? Because the press conference area that they do the post-game press conference in is in the weight room. People might not realize that. It's just in a corner of the weight room. You know what I noticed walking in there? Weight room is squeaky clean.
No why
weights,
is that notable?
No weights on the bars, no junk everywhere, no belts laying all over the floor.
I don't know why that would be noteworthy, Connor. Are you saying that past regimes this was not the case?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying, Josh, that a lot of times you'll notice that good disciplined teams, their areas that they live and work in will be clean. They will pick up after himself, like the bus, the plane, the locker room, the weight room. You'll notice that. And I noticed that walking into the Indomitian Sioux weight room on Saturday afternoon. Back with Sam McKewon from the Omaha World-Herald next on 1620 The Zone.
Now live on Twitch, YouTube, and 1620thezone.com.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis. The spring has arrived, which means you got good weather and you have some of that typical Nebraska spring weather. So if it's raining outside, no problem at all. The Top Tracer building is there to keep you covered and comfortable. You can play virtual courses from all around the world. And when the weather is great, well, of course, you can golf a full 18 or a quick 9 after work. 402-498-0220, Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis.
So, how are the kids?
Well, Emily made the honor roll.
Oh, good for her.
Yeah, we're really proud of her. Tyler, on the other hand, though.
What's going on?
He's been moody lately, just feeling down and not like himself.
Oh, we've been there. Nick was struggling last spring. He was so anxious and stressed.
Really? What helped?
Well, he joined the soccer team. And ever since, he's been a lot happier. He has more energy, he's less stressed, and he's definitely in a better mood at home. It's made a huge difference.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm glad he's getting out of the house, he's getting some exercise, and he's off his phone for once. It's been good for his mental health.
Sounds like it's been good for your mental health, too.
Participating in Nebraska high school sports improves students' physical and mental health. Encourage your son or daughter to get involved. This message presented by the NSAA and the Nebraska State Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
Unlike other health concerns, mental illness is not always easy to see. Depression won't show up on an eye chart, and you won't find PTSD by looking at a thermometer. Sorting out a mental health concern takes professional diagnosis and treatment. Anxiety won't just go away under a bandage. If you or a loved one has a mental health concern, call 1-800-662-HELP for free and confidential information and treatment referral. Learn more at samhsa.gov/support.
My friend and I are taking a trip to Mexico this year, but neither of us speak Spanish. So we downloaded Babbel and started learning Spanish fast.
Want to start getting conversational in another language in as little as 3 weeks? Babbel's quick 10-minute lessons were designed by language experts to be the most efficient and effective way to learn a new language.
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿Cómo te llamas?
¿De dónde eres?
¿De dónde eres?
Babbel's interactive lessons are created by real language teachers and voiced by real native speakers using a modern conversation-based method. So in no time, you can start speaking confidently about real-life topics in another language.
Nosotras vamos a México en 2 días y ahora hablamos español. Gracias, Babbel. Sí, muchas gracias.
Babbel, language for life. Celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com. Babbel.com.
Tickets for less. Best seats, best prices, no per-ticket fees. Ticketsforless.com. KOZ and Bellevue, Omaha, Council Bluffs. This is 1620 The Zone.
All right, welcome back. Connor Happer, Josh Hodson with you on a Monday edition, the Monday after the spring game. The Connor Happer Show on 1620 The Zone and on 1620thezone.com. We're joined now on the phone by the World-Herald's Sam McKewon. Sam, good afternoon. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. We're just parsing through what we saw on Saturday. I know you wrote a bunch in your rewind. Any big picture, like what's your big picture thought coming off of the spring game?
I'll give you 3.
Ooh, that's it? Only 3? I was expecting like 14.
We'll go with 3.
Okay, 3's
We'll
fine.
go with 3. First one. Nebraska probably has 2 good quarterbacks. I don't know if both are going to stay, and I'm not sure if anybody behind Justin and Casey Thompson can be counted on to win you a football game. 2, I think there are pieces on the offense that are, pretty good. But I think there's a long ways to go. And I don't know that they have, an elite running back. And they need offensive line depth.
Yep.
Well, I'll give you 4. 3 on defense. It's a work in progress. Yeah. And you saw some of the stuff they can do on Saturday, and I like some of that stuff, but obviously a work in progress there. I've already said it's going to take a year. They're going to have ups and downs. 4 on special teams, I think Tristan Alvano's got a really good chance to win the job.
Rule mentioned kicker. Rule mentioned kicker again on Saturday.
Yeah. So I think there's a lot in flux there. Things are in flux on special teams. So we've talked about that. If you want to be elite at special teams, the kind of commitment that I think he's willing to make to do that, but it means having hard conversations, and it's a pain in the butt. And I think he knows that too. Like, if you want to be elite on special teams, it means doing things and being super, super tough on players that are, specialists, snappers, and whatever. On defense, what we saw is what we're going to get. You can't put that defense out there, 7 or 8 weeks into the season and expect that to hold up. I mean, there's not enough giant guys out there. Now they'll have more giant guys as things go on, but that's a work in progress.
Yeah.
And then the offense is the offense.
Let's do the defense first. So it's like we've talked about this plenty of times. You've written about it a bunch. What can they do in the meantime before you get the type? I mean, you'll see guys like Prince Will and Cam Lenhart, and they'll get more develop, and then eventually 2 and 3 years down the line, they could become your sack guys, and then maybe eventually you do get to that 40 sacks is 10 wins. At least that's the hope. But in the meantime, I don't think they're going to be there. Is the answer to their question in the short term havoc?
Well, yeah, you can scheme things up and try to create plays that way. Obviously, there's a limit to how effective that stuff is. You can blitz your way into a big mistake too. Anytime you're creating presser packages, you're taking your own risk of actually making a call that perfectly fits what they're doing on offense. I think my concern is sort of twofold. One, a lot of the blitzes did not get home. If you saw the one where Richie Torres, they brought 6 or 7 on him, and he was pretty cool in that pocket, and he found Trevor Lubin or whoever it was for about a 4 or 5 yard gain. Now, more seasoned quarterback knows what to do there. A lot of their blitzes did not actually get home. I mean, they brought some cross-dog blitzes, and that's all fine, but you don't bring those. You bring those so you can get a quarterback off of this spot and move him, and they didn't necessarily consistently do that. That's to be expected when you have blitzes from depth, right? Like it's the lineman can see you're coming, so you have to be really adept. And then in the run game, they actually made some plays. Now I'll say that they got to some things. M.J. Sherman got to one.
Yep.
Principal got to one. I mean, they made some plays. All I'm saying is 7 or 8 games into the season, when you put every blitz you got on tape, and all of a sudden you're rolling into, I don't know if they're playing the 8th game of the season, but you know what I'm saying here.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing Illinois. And, Illinois' got coaches too. You can't roll out a 250-pound, 238-pound, and 245-pound line, and then have Nash Hutmaker in the middle and hope that that's going to. I mean, people they'll just run you ragged on the edges. I mean, they'll run away from Nash, and they'll pin a Cam Lenhart shoot. I mean, Garrett Nelson got pinned for 2 years before he got better against the run, and that was Garrett Nelson. So, there's things they're going to have to work on. You can't. Now they may be able to get away with some of this stuff early. Possible. Minnesota is maybe the largest team in the league, and they will have a challenge trying to figure out what Nebraska's going to do, especially if Nebraska rolls out there with these younger, smaller guys who are just all over the place. They won't always know what to do. You can scheme your way into some plays, and I think one thing I'll try to explore in the offseason with Rule is just how much he values negative plays made by a defense. In other words, I'm sure they've got analytics in their program that says, hey, if we make 1 4-yard loss, just one, the drive's over, 87% of the time. And so what you're looking to do is you're looking to put a team behind the chains, and all of a sudden you don't have to do some of that stuff. So there's some thought process, I'm sure, there. They're trying to pair, this offense with, kind of a pro-style, slow, cooked food offense, a family-style restaurant offense.
Crock pot.
With a defense that's, a food truck, fast casual. And that's all fine. That's fine. But, that's good. I can live with that. I think you've got to find a way to get teams like Minnesota and Wisconsin off the field. And you're not going to get them off the field doing what they did for 4 years, where they hold the ball for 37 minutes. Somehow you've got to get the ball out of their hands. And so this is a way to do that. And we can talk for days about it. We're just going to have to see it happen.
Yeah.
It's a hard defense when you're watching a spring game to exactly know what the hell's going on every play, because they got guys moving up and down from level to level. Obviously, the coaches know what they're doing, but you got guys stemming and stunting, and there's all kinds of stuff going on, and it's tricky. It didn't always work, but there were moments where it was quite effective. And Nebraska's quarterbacks, I guess, are just not seasoned enough to take advantage of the deep throw. There were a couple opportunities, and Sims didn't really have one. He tried that double pump.
Yep.
Harburg had one.
Harburg had one. Yeah.
He didn't throw it. He didn't throw the ball. And so, those are things that you're kind of hoping opposing quarterbacks will hesitate on too. The guy at Minnesota probably hesitates. The guy at Wisconsin and Iowa, they probably don't. Cade McNamara and Tanner Mordecai have been around a while. So you always try to look at things within the context of the players they added. And, a kid like Cade McNamara has seen everything. So he's not going to be fooled by anything Nebraska does. You're going to have to find a way to physically body up some of the teams you're playing and beat them man-to-man.
As of right now, so I like this. Are you okay with the crock pot offense? Is that a decent comparison?
Well, aesthetically, that's the offense I prefer to watch.
Okay.
One of the reasons I like the NFL. So yeah, I love it.
So can they do that? Can they execute that consistently enough? I mean, because to do that, I mean, you're going to have some long drives. You got to string them together. Can they run the ball well enough? It's hard to tell at this point. Can they run the ball well enough to have a fully cooked crock pot meal on offense?
Got to have the offensive line.
Yep.
You've got to have a good offensive line. You can run that quarterback only so much, and before it turns into a situation where you're putting you're running your quarterback for a 17th time and all that. I mean, there's so many different examples or situations that you could kind of work your way through, but you better have good tight ends if you're going to do what they're about to do. You better have all the pieces. I know they're going to work their butts off over the next 14 months to get them. I don't think they have them all yet. I think, again, I think they've got the quarterbacks. I think they might have one tight end. They need 3, really 4. They might have their fullback. He's also an H-back. I don't know if they've got the running back. And I like Billy Kemp a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Now that was a good look.
It was.
He will be good. And I think Marcus Washington is who he is, and is a tough physical player who will show up. Then you need a third guy, and it certainly could be Xavier. I mean, that's obviously possible. It could be Isaiah Garcia Castaneda. I don't know. These offenses require an incredible amount of talent to be really, really good. Georgia has that. And Georgia's offense is very similar to what Nebraska's running. Kansas State runs some similar thing. Kansas State has a lot of really good players on the offensive line, and then they got a tight end, and they got a running back. It helps to have a good running back. I just don't know if they have an elite one. I just don't know. I don't know. And I ask people this, people who know, and they'll just hesitate a little too. Like they just don't know for sure if you've got that player, and it really helps to have that guy. And certainly Minnesota's had that guy for 7 years, going all the way back to I can't remember the guy's name now, David Bell. Iowa hasn't had that guy, and it's hurt them. It's hurt them. They haven't been as good on offense because they haven't found that player. Wisconsin's had that guy now for 10 stinking years, and it just really helps to have that player in the program. Sometimes Wisconsin had 3 all at once. Nebraska hasn't had that guy since Amir left. So I don't know. I think that's a question worth chewing on, and something that I'm sure they'll talk about in the offseason.
I think you asked a question about offensive line depth. I mean, you gave him an opportunity to make the statement, we might go in the transfer portal and grab a couple guys, and he basically said no. Were you surprised by that?
No, because I don't think he's going to sit there and say, I don't know. We'll just see what they do.
Yeah.
I think that'd be the best way to put it. That offensive linemen are hard to get out of the portal, but there's players who are going in the portal. There's going to be a lot of it who do. So they're going to, they'll be able to sort some of that stuff out and see what's what, see if they want to add somebody. I thought the interior linemen played well. I think they've got a center. I think they got a backup center. Justin Evans-Jenkins played quite a bit with that first team group. So I think they feel good there. I think they got one healthy tackle. I think we've seen now enough of Turner Corcoran.
No,
that
not going to work.
Turner needs to play inside. And, Cam Lenhart put him on a spin cycle twice. And that's, that kid just got here on campus. Now Lenhart's interesting in the sense that I think he's very close to his physical maturity. And so he is a little bit further along. And he's smart. He's a smart player. You can tell that. But he's also a little bit more physically developed than some true freshmen. And so I'm sure that was surprising to Corcoran. But you can't. I mean, that's just not something you can. That guy doesn't. Corcoran's going into his 4th year, so it's probably not a tackle. Thought Bernard played okay. Teddy, we'll see. He's banged up. You need another tackle. Now, is Henry Lutovsky somebody you can put out there? I suppose. Is Murray and Willie? Yes, you could put Murray out there. But I'm sure they would love to have somebody who's a dedicated tackle. So, they tried to get one in Walter Rouse. He decided not to come to Nebraska, ultimately, right? He decided to go somewhere else.
Yes.
But they tried to get him, and it wasn't like they tried to get him and they didn't have a scholarship issue at the time. So let's just see what happens.
Yeah. All right, Sam. Great stuff as always. Appreciate the time. We'll let you go and have a good week.
Take care. Bye.
Sam McKewon from the Omaha World-Herald. People forget about Walter Rouse, by the way. And remember what we said at the time, which was when you get Walter Rouse, or like for the 24 hours in Nebraska had Walter Rouse, wow, this is so great. But you know what this is the best for? Turner Corcoran. Because then you don't have to play him at tackle. Yeah. So you find a way somehow on that offensive line. And then I think they want to develop guys. They want to bring guys along and develop them. They're going to take a whole crap ton of them this year and develop them, and maybe they're ready to go. But something that needs some work. I love the crockpot offense. That sounds like a Josh graphic coming up.
Crockpot offense.
Crockpot offense.
Yeah.
Slow cooker, But in order to do it, in order to have that offense, like Sam said, like physically you got to be pretty talented. But just operationally, during a drive, you got to extend drives. Can Nebraska get 4 yards on the ground when asked? Can they have a span of 10 plays where they don't go backwards at all? Because that hasn't been them over the last few years with these same offensive linemen. That's what you got to do to have a good crockpot offense. It helps to have Jeff Sims who can go back there and, add a little salt and pepper to taste. Or maybe it's more than that. But, yeah, crockpot offense. I'm digging that. We'll come back. A few things from our YouTube page. I like this from the guy HSNG Dragon. LOL, millions of dollars, the finest scientific research, coaching, and mentoring. We are now able to produce grown men who pick up their crap. LOL, the leaders of tomorrow. Also, always love the profile pic of Danny Trejo holding that bird, whatever is going on there. But yeah, I'm telling you, good teams. Or the bad team. Let's say this: the bad teams, the undisciplined teams, have dirty weight rooms and locker rooms.
Whoever those may be.
Whoever that is.
Mm-hmm.
All right. A few more things on the other side. Next on 1620 The Zone.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio, this is 1620 The Zone.
The cigar enthusiasts at Hearth Cigars and Pipes are a pretty diverse bunch of humans. Some enjoy an adult beverage or two, others pass the time with a competitive yet friendly game of dominoes. Still others enjoy shooting some pool downstairs, while more than a few are just satisfied with each other's company. The common thread with all of them is the awesomeness that is their favorite cigar from the humidor. Hearth Cigars and Pipes, just off the 48th Street exit from I-680 at the corner of Mormon Bridge Road and McKinley, and at hearthcigars.com.
It's time to wake up your taste buds. Introducing my new Fiesta Lime Chicken Pizza. Spicy taco sauce, generous amounts of chicken, green peppers, onions, jalapenos, mounds of cheddar and mozzarella cheese, and finished with a tangy lime sprinkle. Add your favorite one-topping pizza and my sweet cinnamon monkey bread. Fiesta Feast. Now that's a fiesta for your mouth. Godfather's Pizza. Do it.
No matter where you live, what you make, or who you voted for, there are some things that will impact all of us soon. Whether you're concerned about the alarming increase in man-made disasters, financial institutions collapsing, or worsening food shortages, Americans are preparing in numbers not seen since World War II. What's changed is how we prepare. And the folks at My Patriot Supply have made it easier than ever for you to have peace of mind, knowing you're ready for what's next. Go to MyPatriotSupply.com and stock up on over a dozen emergency food kits. These include tasty breakfasts, lunches, dinners, drinks, fruits, veggies, meats, and snacks, averaging over 2,000 calories per day. Get at least one kit per person. As we all know, calories equals energy equals survival. My Patriot Supply food kits are in stock and shipped discreetly. We've seen too many Americans let down by institutions we used to trust. It's time to rely on ourselves. MyPatriotSupply.com. MyPatriotSupply.com.
Tired of having a website that doesn't reflect the quality of your brand? At JM Online, we specialize in custom websites for unique business needs. Your website should be more than just a digital billboard. It should be a powerful tool that grows your business. Awarded Omaha's best web developers in 2023, we're dedicated to local business success. So if you're ready to take your website to the next level, go to jmonline.com and request a call.
The brand new Dollar General Distribution Center in Blair is now hiring. Starting wage is up to $22 per hour with benefits including medical, dental, vision, 401k, and a $2,000 sign-on bonus. Apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Again, apply today by texting DG Warehouse to 25000 or online at dollargeneral.com/careers. Dollar General can't wait to have you become a team member at their brand new distribution center.
Hi, this is Doug Nodgard with Equitable Bank. Great service never goes out of style. When the digital age dawned, many said computers would be able to handle many of the interactions that used to take a person. Boy, were they wrong. How many times have you called your bank and gotten a recording to press 1 or 2? Not at Equitable. Not only does Equitable answer your call on the first ring, it's answered by a human being. That's because Equitable Bank values its customers. Equitable Bank, we take banking personally. Member FDIC.
Peerless Energy Systems is Nebraska and Iowa's locally owned and operated authorized solar air compressor distributor. Peerless Energy Systems provides products and solutions for compressed air systems, helping companies in manufacturing, food processing, transportation, auto body repair, car dealers, and more. Driving industry efficiency through service, support, and relationships, let Peerless Energy Systems help you increase efficiency with your compressed air systems today. PeerlessEnergy.com.
All right, another Colorado player went in the transfer portal.
Another one.
We don't even have to sound the alarm when it happens anymore. It's just a thing. It's like a ball in a baseball game. Ball. Just throw the next pitch. Ball.
They're hitting it today.
Bill Connolly of ESPN says this. By my count, Colorado has now lost all 4 quarterbacks who threw more than 20 passes last year. 3 out of their 5 running backs, all 9 players that were targeted in the pass game more than 8 times, 5 of their 8 offensive linemen that played, 7 of their 8 defensive linemen that played, 5 of their 8 offensive linemen who played 100 snaps, 7 of their 8 defensive linemen who played 100 snaps or more, 4 linebackers all with 200 plus snaps, and 12 of 17 defensive backs with any snaps. So if you were wondering, I wonder how Colorado's going to do in the returning production metric. Well, they're going to get a bunch of transfers, obviously. They'll be replacing this production with some production. Some of it at the FCS level. It's not going to be good.
Yeah, that's one metric but
it's just so hard to imagine. It's just so hard to imagine. We've just never seen anything like it. This is the world's first,
entirely flipped roster.
Yeah, I have we seen anything close to this?
I can't recall anything.
And the coach is asking people to contact him, saying he's not hard to find. That's to Jay's point earlier. It doesn't mean it automatically has to be bad. I think it will for other reasons. but it is so unconventional. It's so unconventional.
But if you're
But it's
Colorado,
possible.
you can spin this.
Sure.
And be like, sure, this was a 1-win team last year. Of course, we don't want that production back.
Yeah. Did you see how many people were at our spring game?
Mm-hmm.
People forget that.
Everything's fine.
Mm-hmm. And for all we know, I mean, I'm sure Dion would be very open and tell us about this, but he probably asked 75% of them to go. Now, I don't know why he would have done that in a lot of their cases, because once again, they were Power 5 football players with production under their name. That's not really out there in the portal a whole lot. That's the thing. I'm not sure. That's where the disconnect comes in for me. Because, like, we talk about this every summer. Nebraska's looking for, let's just say, theoretically, they're looking for offensive linemen in the portal. What's the first type of offensive lineman you want in the portal?
Big old fat guys.
Yeah, big old fat fatties, but who have played in major conferences.
Yes.
And have a lot of snaps under their belt. Preferably have started, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then you keep going down the list, and each one that you have to knock off, your standards lower a little bit. There's just not a lot of guys out there that are going to fit the criteria of, I have played a lot of college football, and I'm going to leave my situation at, pick a school, USC, whatever, just an example. I'm going to leave my starting situation at USC to go play for Colorado. And I think that's where the disconnect is, because I think Dion thought that was going to happen more than it has, and more than it will.
I'll put the call out. I'll make it big and showy and public, and people will come running.
Right. Maybe there's not. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's more difficult to do quick fixes in college football. By the way, I just saw, so they just lost another one.
Another one.
They just lost an offensive lineman.
6'6", 300 pounds. They did not lose a tiny baby buff.
What is this NIL value? Can we get this off the page?
I cannot. No.
Can you somehow? Can you please? So this is what they do apparently on 3. They give them a scouting profile. They give them their height and weight, and then they have an NIL category. His NIL value is $22,000. It's just, and it's done that way because he has 467 followers on Twitter, 39 followers on TikTok, and 1,000 followers on Instagram.
Oh, that's how they measure it?
Yes.
I mean,
it's not relevant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's mildly relevant, I should say. It does not tell you the entire story of a person's NIL valuation or profile. That's nonsense. That is absolute nonsense.
And that also doesn't, like,
shout out to our On 3 guys, Sean, Robin, Sipple, Munson, we love you. That's nonsense.
Am I supposed to, like, I don't know if there's $22,000 in the kitty for this guy? Like, what am I as a fan supposed to?
It makes the people think that automatically when they go to their next school that they could be making that much money. That's not how it works. It's not fair to the player, really, to do it that way. Anyway. Sorry, I just saw that and it caught my eye. What's going on? Text line. Beyond all the lost production, trying to hit the portal and get these new guys up to speed under a new staff with really just fall camp to do it is going to be incredibly challenging. We saw how some of the late arrivals for Nebraska last year struggled to make an impact initially. Yeah. Tough to imagine with half the roster turning over. It is. It is tough to imagine. I would tend to agree with you on that. But we'll see.
TCU's coming.
It's not like anything else we've really seen before. Elsewhere over the weekend, Arthur Kaluma. Remember Art Kaluma? He entered his toe in the NBA draft waters. He will maintain his college eligibility. Will we see him back in Creighton blue and white? I'm not so sure. Doesn't really seem like it from the Instagram post.
Yeah.
But he will maintain his college eligibility. It wasn't clear in the post that he made.
It was not.
But he did say, or I just read from Joel's thing, like source confirmed later that, he was going to maintain his college eligibility, which, he hasn't entered his name into the portal yet. If that's an option for him. So you wonder if he, I just think when you say that, you're leaving all of your options open. And sometimes, regardless of guys, evaluation at the NBA level, you're still going to say, yep, I'm just going to go pro. I just want to play basketball professionally for a few years, make my nut and go home, And I think that could be the case with him as well. Let's see. Was there anything else that we needed to? Oh yeah, Nebraska baseball.
These guys. Not a good look.
That was not good.
Didn't feel great.
That's all I have to say about that, Josh.
Good analysis by you.
Thank you. Remember when we were talking about last week how they were going to maybe win the Big Ten?
That was you guys.
Oh yeah, that was just me. It doesn't feel like they're going to win the Big Ten anymore. So make the Big Ten tournament and win it.
See what happens.
That's really your only option.
Indiana got to 30 wins. Iowa's got some good arms, obviously.
Yeah. Pitching let Nebraska down this weekend.
Big time.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Come back, pull questions, tell you what to watch next on 1620 The Zone.
The Connor Happer Show. Follow us on Twitter @Happer Show for all the latest news and views. We may even say something interesting once in a while.
Unlikely.
Really, guys? Your Omaha area forecast from Knoyer Garden Center and KETV News Watch 7 on 1620 The Zone.
Mostly cloudy skies for your Monday afternoon with a few peaks of sunshine out there. Staying mild with a high in Omaha of 64 with light southeasterly winds up to 10 miles an hour. Tonight, partly to mostly cloudy skies. Mild again with a low near 42 and light winds up to 10 miles an hour. I'm meteorologist Kaylin Harvey with KETV News Watch 7.
It's the 5K giveaway on 1620 The Zone. Enter to win a $5,000 shopping spree right now at 1620thezone.com. It's the 5K giveaway on 1620 The Zone.
Make the right call, fans. The Rooferees at John Higgins Weather Guard.
Watching a ball game at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill is pretty awesome. Oscar's offers the MLB package, so your team is always on their upgraded audio-video system, and nothing is better than watching the game with a cold frosty one, Oscar's Pizza, or award-winning char-buffed wings. And with daily lunch and dinner specials, it's really a no-brainer. So get ready to watch your favorite team play ball at Oscar's Pizza and Sports Grill, 173rd and West Center Road, and takeout at 162nd and Maple.
Hey everyone, Josh Peterson here for my friends at Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis. The spring has arrived, which means you got good weather and you have some of that typical Nebraska spring weather. So if it's raining outside, no problem at all. The Top Tracer building is there to keep you covered and comfortable. You can play virtual courses from all around the world. And when the weather is great, well, of course, you can golf a full 18 or a quick 9 after work. 402-498-0220, Miracle Hill Golf and Tennis.
Hey, baseball fans, join the Blur Tailgate at Hilton Omaha this June for our 11th annual hospitality event during the College Baseball Championship Series. Book an experience for your clients or employees with an inclusive bar, buffet, TVs, music, and tailgate games. Secure your spot today and let us handle all the details steps away on the south side of Charles Schwab Field. Visit blurevents.com to book your group, buy tickets, or learn about sponsorships. That's blurevents.com, your college baseball and football tailgate destination. Blur Events takes care of all the work so you can enjoy the day.
Hi, this is Kathy Knoyer with Knoyer Garden Center. The beauty and color of spring is in our greenhouse, featuring thousands of gorgeous hanging baskets and hundreds of varieties of Knoyer grown product. Come in and talk with our family of employees who will help you find what you're looking for. Whether it's home decor, annuals, perennials, shrubs, tropicals, or vegetables, we have it all. Knoyer Garden Center is located between Highway 370 and Cornhusker on 66th Street in Papillion. Open daily, 9 to 7.
At Knoyer Garden Center, everybody's got a green thumb.
Businesses of Omaha, settling for a website that looks like it's stuck in the early 2000s? Then it's time to level up with JM Online. Our local team builds custom websites that solve unique business needs. We're not your typical web design company. We're your partners in online success. Ready to take your website to the next level? Go to jmonline.com and request an initial call.
All right, poll questions. There were 3 today. Pretty light, but we were all business.
All business today.
No jokes.
Nope.
No jokes allowed. We're very serious.
We're not one of those sports show that's yucks it up all day.
So 3 poll questions. By the way, there was some great content of. So were you watching minor league baseball, Josh, over the weekend or on Friday? What was going on?
I was watching the Chasers.
Okay.
Friday night.
So
I
you
forgot about that. Yeah.
Tweeting pictures of me at myself. It was so cold.
It looked very cold.
It was so cold. I was miserable on Friday night.
Fun fact, MLB TV, you can watch all the minor league games. And Friday night, I wanted to watch. The Braves were on Apple TV, so I couldn't watch them. And I tuned in to watch the AAA Braves in Omaha, and they give you the video feed from the
actual in-house.
Yeah. And there's
so between
Connor.
innings, there I am with my stocking cap on, my 2 jackets, and my scarf, my gloves. Still wasn't warm enough.
Nope.
Poll questions at Happer Show. Do you like subscribing to things? No, I hate it. 88% agree with me.
Wow.
How about that?
I thought you might win that poll. I didn't know it'd be that decisive.
I hate subscribing to things. Everything a la carte. Who commits to their threats more, Netflix or Elon Musk? I think you got to say Netflix, right?
They've threatened this password. That's the only thing they've threatened, and they haven't
true.
followed through on it ever.
They also threatened to have a live Love is Blind show. They didn't do that. So maybe it is Elon.
I think it is Elon almost by default.
Okay, we're going Elon. 52% say Elon. Not surprising. It's about 50-50, though. And finally, Matt Rule's hat from the spring game. Good or bad? That is a definitively bad hat.
I don't know. I thought I knew, and I got in today, and I don't know anymore.
59% say good hat.
Ooh, what do you think about that, Connor?
I disagree.
Okay.
Sometimes there's some brave people out there who have to disagree, and that's okay. Josh, what are we watching tonight?
NBA doubleheader on TNT tonight, 6:30. We got a couple of game 4s. Bucks at the Heat tonight. Giannis will start for the Bucks. They need him because they're down 2-1 to the Miami Heat. We don't want the Heat and the Knicks in a conference semifinals. Winner goes to the conference finals. We don't want those fan bases having anything good.
No, we don't want that at all.
Grizzlies, Lakers, 9:00 from the Crypto.com arena. Game 4, Lakers lead 2-1. Who knows who's going to play for Memphis in that one? Will Dylan the Villain Brooks be productive? I don't know. NHL 4 game 4s. Devils, Rangers, 6:00 ESPN.
Have them Devils.
Rangers lead 2-1. Maple Leafs, Lightning, 6:30 TBS. Toronto leads 2-1. You got the Golden Knights at the Winnipeg Jets. Vegas leads that series 2-1. That's 8:30 on ESPN. And 9:00 on TBS. Avalanche at the Kraken. Colorado leads that series 2-1. Baseball, we got 3 games on today. 5:30 start on ESPN Plus. The Colorado Rockies at the Cleveland Guardians. Rockies' worst record in the National League right now. Guardians have lost 4 of the last 5 series, but they're just a game out in the Central.
Well, the division that scores no runs.
Yes. 5:30 MLB Network. Red Sox, Orioles. Chris Sale starting for the Red Sox. Orioles have won 6 straight, getting great pitching. Right now, they're just not allowing any runs, so that could be a pitcher's duel there. And 8:30 on FS1, nationally televised game, the Oakland A's at the Los Angeles Angels.
Cool.
Oakland, a worst record in the sport right now. They have been outscored by 108 runs already. Angels right at 500, 11-11.
Thank you, Josh.
Thank you, Connor.
That is what we're watching tonight. That's the show. If you missed anything, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. Crossovers next.
Live from the Host Coffee Studio.